Hello and good morning, everybody. How are you on this Friday? It is Ask Me Anything Friday, and I am Terri Hardin, Walt Disney's legendary Imagineer. This is the day when you can ask me those burning questions that you just got to talk about. We can also talk about a couple of things today. First of all, there is a Star Wars Cantina. You don't have to pay to get into a park, to get into the cantina, and you don't need an appointment so far, and I'm going to share that with you. Also, it's comic book day tomorrow. That's right. Every year they used to do this comic book day. I never got to go. And lo and behold, I did something very smart. I signed up for the newsletter, and tomorrow is the day. I am so stoked to be a part of to get to see what comic book day is all about. And I will discuss about some processes, just a couple that I've learned because I like to prepare for stuff like this. So let's just break it down. Terri Hardin, Walt Disney's legendary Imagineer. I'm known best with the Walt Disney Group as creating the Dragon's Lair in Paris. And this is their 30-year anniversary. And no, I wasn't in Paris. But this Saturday, I will be honored as a Disney legend by the Disney-AMA fan club. So please go to DisneyAmaFanClub.org. And if you can come to that dinner, I'd love to see you, and be sure to say hello. There will be presentations all that Saturday, including me giving a presentation on Disneyland Paris, Bob Gerd giving one of his amazing presentations. And if you've ridden something at Disneyland or Walt Disney World, Bob is the reason that it's moving and doing its thing. And if you've seen Fantasmic, you may also remember Garner Holt was at the root of that amazing show. He built a lot of things for that show, among other things. So he too will be doing a presentation. He has recently, and I mean recently, maybe within the last couple of years, recently, not like yesterday, has moved to a new studio. So he'll probably talk about that. And then we'll all take questions and answers. And then at night, the dinner to honor myself and Kim Irvine as Disney legends, as well as Madame Leota will be celebrated, because that was Kim Irvine's mom, Leota, and she played Leota in the Haunted Mansion. And sometimes Kim gets to play it. So I'm sure there will be questions and answers. It's really, really worth it. It's going to be a great meal. There's going to be a fabulous auction. We're auctioning off some things. There'll be a few gifts for you guys, at least something from me. And I hope you will consider joining us. It is in Anaheim/Orange County, or is that Orange County/Anaheim? In either place, forgive me, I should probably have a cup of tea, a little bit of tea, but that feels so good. But it's going to be at the DoubleTree Suites by Hilton on 100 City Drive South. So just Google that and you will be able, but the easiest way is to just go to the DisneyAmaFanClub.org and you get all the information, okay? And if that isn't enough for you, on Sunday, there's going to be a show and sale like no other show and sale you've ever been to. This is one of my favorite as a guest, and that is because it's a lot of collectors selling to collectors. If you're someone who likes patches, which is kind of an unusual thing to collect, but I met a wonderful gentleman, and he said, I like to collect the patches because then I can put them on my jacket and wear them, and they're flexible and that. And he says the Disney-AMA Fan Club is one of the best places he's been able to find patches that give him joy. So if you collect patches, pins, you're looking for that vintage thing, a lot of these collectors that are there have lots of knowledge of what they're offering. They're not just a dude selling a thing. So you get real joy out of finding out. You get the love. Why does this person love this piece, and why are they selling it, and why are they at the Disney-AMA Fan Club? A lot of times because they wanted to get to someone who's not necessarily an eBayer, but someone who loves the various characters like they do. Okay, so this is a great thing to happen. It's coming up this week, not this weekend, which is this. What's today? Today's the 6th, so the 7th and 8th. The 8th is Mother's Day. Happy Mother's Day out there to all of you who are moms. And I hope you have a lovely, lovely Mother's Day. And then a week from this Saturday, the 14th, and a week from this Sunday, the 15th, that's the Disney-ANA Fan Club weekend. So check it out, all right? Okay, excellent. Excellent. So I am about to reveal the cantina. I know you're looking at me saying, when are you going to talk about the cantina? But I got one more thing I'm going to say before I talk about the cantina. And if you're just not interested in waiting, I understand. It's a beautiful day out there. Go have fun. You can watch me later, okay? And if you are watching me later, I hope you will post in the comments and say hello. I really love to hear what you have to say. But I am going to do one more little invite for you because I want you to know about it. And that is patreon.com/Terri Hardin. This is where Terri's tribe resides, a beautiful community of people that share their voices to help each other, all of us, feel positive in a world that's pretty negative right now. Pretty broken in some areas, not all broken, but if you're someone who's being affected because the pandemic seems to feel like it's never going to end, or you're worried about things like Ukraine, or you're just one of these people who just feels like you're not feeling that fluttery happiness that you felt and you need that lift, we chatter all things, not just Disney. We talk about various things, and it's a lot of fun. Today, we talked about having gone to the May the 4th Be With You event, not the one that you paid for, but the one during the day. And one of the highlights for us was being in downtown Disney collecting the Muppets. I don't know if you've heard that Lego has done these cute little Muppet minifigs just for you. And a lot of my group wanted to go and get some of them. So that was really fun. So there you go. Please join us. $5 a month, $60 a year, the price of a Starbucks, and not for very much longer. I hear Starbucks is raising their prices, so this is a real deal. I always over deliver. There's lots happening. I do a gift giveaway all the time. This is because I have a garage full of stuff, and I'd rather give it to my tribe than put it on eBay. There are some things I am going to put on eBay, full disclosure, but that's the deal. So there you go. There's that. And as you guys put your questions and comments in over here, I'm going to talk about what was in the thumbnail. First of all, the cantina and comic book day. So let's bounce over first to comic book day because that has a bit of a Disney theme to it. So here you're looking at a Marvel comic that will be offered for free. Did I say free? By the way, free, and also free at the free comic book day event. If you want to go, just Google freecomicbookday.com. Just put that in your browser and they will show you. It looks to be about, maybe I'm exaggerating, but it looks to be between 30 and 50 comics that are available. Now, this doesn't just happen in California or in Florida. It happens all over the country, and in some cases, many places of the world. So you click, you put your zip code in, or you put where you live, and they show you stores that are in your area. I'm very fortunate. There's about 4 I could go to. And I have an ulterior motive. I have never got to go to comic book day. I am so excited about going tomorrow because, first of all, I've come to love comic books because of Terri's tribe on Patreon. I have a couple of comic book people, comic book enthusiasts, and one of the best comic book illustrators and story writers is a member of Terri's tribe. And I've come to really appreciate comic books because of him. So I really, really wanted to check this out. And what a lot of stores are doing is at certain times of the day, they will have comic book illustrators from places like this, Marvel, and others that will be there signing their comic books. Now, it's not clear as to whether these who are signing are free comic books, but the point is it gives me a chance to see another group of people I've never gotten to be around. And I'm very excited to experience free comic book day. So what I did is I put my zip code in, and then I looked at the stores, and then I reached out to each comic book store because comic book day warns you that each store could have a limit on how many comic books you want. So I've made a little list of the comic books that I'd like to have, and I'm going to go first thing in the morning and see how easy or difficult this could be to get a comic book that I want. In some stores, the limit is 3. In some stores, the limit is 5. And some stores, after a certain time of day, the limits are lifted. So, guys, if it's something you want to do, freecomicbookday.com. Check it out. And here I did this in honor of, I'm a Disney Imagineer. I just thought you'd like to see the cover on this is just gorgeous. Can't tell you what's inside the cover till I see it, but super, super excited to be a part of this event. I can almost bet you dollars to donuts it's going to be the people. The people are going to be fun, right? The people are going to be fun. This comic book day says that they have toys and gifts that are offered, not for free, because the idea is to come in to get your free comic book and then get to know the people who are part of the store. I've never been in any of these comic book stores. It's going to really be fun to experience the owners, the managers, the collectors, just see what that environment is like, which I love to do. So this is really going to be fun, and then get a free comic book as well. So it's going to be cool. So check out that website. It's going to be really, really, really exciting. On the other side of the spectrum, yes, indeed, on the other side of the spectrum, and let me see if I have a picture I can show you, because I'm about to release this. Let me see if I've got it here. Doesn't look like I downloaded the picture, but you saw it in the thumbnail. So we'll just leave it at that for now. But those of you who are so Star Wars like myself, love Star Wars, want to experience Star Wars, and are kind of sad that you're getting, having to go to Disneyland for a umpteen amount of money, or, just to go see Galaxy's Edge and maybe sit in their cantina, here's the opportunity for you to do it, and you don't have to pay to get in. And whoops, don't get angry at me. Just let me do what I'm supposed to do. Okay. And this is the place that you want to know about. It's called the Scum and Villainy Cantina. That's right. The Scum and Villainy Cantina. And it's in Hollywood, California. Hollywood, California. Now, the owners of Scum and Villainy invite you to come in costume. They don't want you to shoot projectiles of anything, but other than that, you can bring your lightsabers, you can bring your blasters, you can bring whatever, you can dress up however you want. And they have some real rogues behind the bar. They have some very interesting things. It's a beautiful, beautiful, I would love to show you a picture of the bar, but just Google Scum and Villainy Cantina. And then what you're going to learn about the Scum and Villainy Cantina is they mention that they only have street parking. So if you're bold enough to take the metro, you can get off at the Hollywood and Vine, I think it said, but go to their website and let me just see. It's called the Scum and Villainy Intergalactic Bar, and you go to scumandvillainy.cantina.com. scumandvillainy.cantina.com. You can see the pictures. It's gorgeous. The drinks look fabulous. The place is extremely Star Wars, 7 days a week. And here's the thing that when I was reading about this, really touched my heart. At the Scum and Villainy Cantina, you can bring your kids. Okay, that's correct. You can bring your kids till 8:00 p.m. And then, of course, you got to take your kids home. But they are open early enough that you can bring your children. They can experience this cantina. It's a lot more kid friendly. And then from 8 to 2 a.m., it's like a cantina. And it sounds just amazing. I want to go and check it out. I'm looking forward to go check it out. And if I do, I'll tell you all about it. But I thought at the time, this is Star Wars time. And this is Star Wars month, the actual release date of the original Star Wars back in 1977. When I cut class to go there was the 25th of May. That's the actual date. And I used to get a little upset with May the 4th because I thought it was super cheesy. May the 4th be with you. Blah. But I'm a little older now, and I'm kind of like, if you want to celebrate Star Wars for the whole month of May, why not? Why not? It's your right. And so I had a great time on May the 4th, and I plan on celebrating May 25th and all through Star Wars, because it is what put me on the map today. And I will point out that I have this amazing shirt. You may have noticed this is a Star Wars shirt, and I did not get it at Disneyland or downtown Disneyland. It was a gift from my dear friend Bob Burdine from the tribe, and he and his wife Rose brought it for me. Collar's a little off, so let me just make it a little more cool. There we go. Well, a little more. Me is crooked, right? Anyway, this shirt is adorable. It has the Millennium Falcon here. It's got R2D2 on here. It's very festive. It's very bright, and I love it. And it's from Kohl's, guys. Yeah, it's from Kohl's. Can you believe it? I'm like, what? Pretty impressive. So I hate to say it, but a lot of the cool Star Wars merchandise is not coming from Disney.com, but coming from other areas. So be sure you take a look at Shopify, take a look at the fan art, something that you might like. There are a couple of things that were interesting, but there was no commemorative merchandise, none whatsoever, I was told. If I am correct, you let me know here in the comments. Get in on it, okay? And we can talk about Star Wars Day, but understand that in Hollywood, now a lot of you guys love to pop over to the El Capitan because that is a Disney theater here in Hollywood across from the Chinese, okay? And it's just down the street. I mean, it's going to be a little bit of a walk. Hollywood and Vine is not at Hollywood and Highland. It's a bit of a walk, but if you got it in you, this is a great place to go see this amazing Cantina bar. I'm thinking of checking it out myself. It looks really, really wonderful, and it's super cool. And let me just take a look at the hours for you. So a lot of times they'll do like Saturday 6 p.m. to 2 a.m. So from 6 to 8, you can bring your kids, right? But Sunday, 11 a.m. to 2 a.m. So what a great day to bring your kids. Then your kids don't have to do it in the evening. They can do it in the afternoon. It might be very fun. And I'm sure they have a lot of no-hito type drinks, non-alcoholic drinks for your kids, and a lot of fun. And they can dress up all in their various Star Wars attire and go have a good time and do it. And it doesn't cost you to be at the event. You know, you're going to have to buy your drinks and your food and stuff like that. But to get in, there is no door cover charge. So this is a great little piece of information that came across my desk. And I just wanted to share it with you guys. So tons of fun happening Saturday, tomorrow. Comic book day, free comic book day. You don't have to come to my area to get your comic books. It's all over each state. There's so many participating in this, and they continue to do it. And they're really, these comic book stores and collectible stores are really, really fired up because it's not been available, I think, for like 2 years. And back then, I missed that day. So I'm so excited to see what this is like. And I can't wait. I can't wait. I'm beside myself. Just so excited to see what this is going to be like. So if you're like me, then go to freecomicbookday.com and type in your information. All right. Okay. So let's wrap it up before I go over, and please keep putting your questions in there and then I'll jump over there. But let's wrap it all up for you. So this Sunday, Mother's Day, don't forget, if you've got a mom out there that you want to celebrate with, get her something lovely or take her to a nice meal or bring something to her. If she's someone like my husband's mother who does not want to leave the home because she's older and high risk. So we'll bring Mother's Day to her, right? But don't forget, that's the 8th, okay? And then tomorrow, the 7th, is free comic book day. So if it's something you just happen to want to do, go and have fun and do it. Yep. Then next week, the 14th and 15th, on the 14th, I will be honored as a Disney legend by the Disney-ANA fan club. I'm really, really excited about it. And I hope you'll join me there. Go to Disney-ANA fanclub.org, Disney-ANA fanclub.org to learn more. Okay. And if you want to make a day of it, Saturday, we got some killer presentations for some killer people. And then on Sunday, the show and sale. So that'd be great for next weekend. Love to see you there. Please, if you come and tell me that you listen to the show, or that you've always been curious about me and what's going on. But there you have that as well. And I think that's all I have to say right now. Isn't that enough? Right. And then join the Patreon. $5 a month, and that's just $60 a year. Just skip a Starbucks. It's not $5 a week. $5 a month. So it's not much, but I'd love for you to be a part of it if you want to add your voice to the mix. Okay. All righty. So let's go over and hear what you guys have to say today. It's a beautiful day outside, and I'm noticing that many of you are getting out there and getting to it. So don't worry. It's fun. It's exciting. And I'm really proud of myself. I did that in 20 minutes. I got to the point. I'm working on myself, right? Right. Hello, everyone. Disney-Ana's next Saturday, not tomorrow. Exactly. Next Saturday, a week from tomorrow. A week from tomorrow. Tomorrow, Free Comic Book Day. A week from tomorrow, the event. Let me know if you're going to come, okay? All right. Hello, Diane. It's in the city of Orange, says Diane. Yes, and like I said, if you go to their website, it has all the information about the hotel. It has all the information about their schedule. It's got it there. You just get to tool around and see it, okay? Thank you, Diane. Good morning. Yes, good morning, Diane. Great to see you. Hello, Jim. Are you going to Star Wars night? No. Did I say that fast enough? The last couple times I've gone, it's been really lackluster. And you're paying a lot of money for something lackluster. And the other reason that I like to go is to see some of the special merchandise they have, and they don't. According to people that went on May the 3rd, they don't have anything. They don't have anything special. So I think I won the trifecta here with this beautiful shirt that Bob Burdine and Rose gave me and their entire family. I just love this. I mean, I would have bought this in a New York Minute, guys. This is the kind of stuff I love, is like kind of upscale Star Wars art. This is stunning. And it was at Kohl's. So you see what I'm saying? So Jim, I just got together with my tribe, and we all gathered on Wednesday from 11 till about 6 and had our own Star Wars day. And man, it was fantastic. So, when in doubt, make your own. Bob Burdine says, good morning, Terry. Yes, you are right. The Disney-Ana Club, formerly known as the National Fantasy Fan Club, has been around for 37 years, predating D23. That is correct. It is one of the best clubs, and would like to mention friends of the another great club. Okay, spell check is messing with him, but the point is that this, if you love D23, and sometimes you get a bit frustrated because at D23 you can't see certain people, a lot of times Imagineers and amazing people show up, and one of the presenters is going to be Bob Gurr, as I mentioned. So he's a legend. So you'll get to meet him, and I mean, not like, hi, you're like up close like this. How you doing? How you doing? As long as he allows you to shake his hand. But my point is, you're 6 feet apart, social distancing, instead of 20 feet apart using your glasses. You know what I mean? So it's a great club, and a lot of Imagineers love it. A lot of Disney artists love it, and a lot of them show up. Yeah, and many have a table. The Sherman brothers were there often. Now, the surviving one is very busy, but the son there's a book out, and the son sold it at the Disney-Ana Fan Club first. So there's a lot of people there with, Tinkerbell is often there. I don't know if she'll be there this time, but a lot of times she was. And so you get to meet some people up close and personal that at D23, sometimes you're not so lucky to do that. So that's one of the reasons it's very special, as Bob says. Deanna says, good morning. Good morning. Joe Penny, there you are. You made it, buddy. He says hotel your Doubletree Hotel, where you'll be, is very close to where the Plitt City Center Cinema was located. That was one of the only 3 Southern California theaters where Star Wars opened May 25th, 1977. I wouldn't know because I went to the Chinese, but this is great information. 70 millimeter 6-track Dolby stereo. That's where I first saw Star Wars in August 1977. Sadly, it was demolished in the 90s. That's a shame, right? Yeah. Yeah, I was at the Chinese theater and I cut class to go see it and I walked right in. We talked about it. Judy said that the theater that she went to, she stood in line. She went that night. And my friend Judy Moore, she stood in line and got to see it that night. But we went in the early in the morning because no one knew what Star Wars was. It's Star Wars. What is this? What is he talking about? So we went in and saw it right away, and the room stretched for me. It was a headbanger because all of a sudden I realized that my hobby that so many were telling me was just that was actually a career. And the next thing you know, my feet were upon the path of working in the film industry and then Disney, doing a lot of movies. Google me if you want to see just how much stuff I'm in. I'm on 2 Wikipedia pages, and we can't make those ourselves. Wikipedia has a very strong rule against you posting your own Wikipedia page. So this is done by others for me, and I'm really grateful. As this award that I'm getting, I can't pay people off or beg people to give it to me. They do it out of the goodness of their heart because they're fans, and they know I should be a Disney legend acknowledged by Disney. But, we'll just keep saying that it should happen, and who knows, maybe their magic, your magic, and mine will make it happen, right? Right. So he's right. And Star Wars 1977 was a room stretcher for me. It was life-changing for me. And I'll never forget it. I'll never forget it. And we talked a lot about that day. Many of us on May the 4th in the morning when we were sitting around near the flagpole talked about what our first day was like, because our lives were never the same, and neither were yours. Star Wars was so strong and so magical and so influential. It changed the way we did commercials. It changed the way movies happened. All of these superhero movies never would have happened if Star Wars hadn't laid the groundwork. So it's a big deal, and something that should always be celebrated, and I always will. I'll tip my blue milk to Star Wars anytime. That movie is wonderful. And people say watching it now is very challenging because it's clunky, but back then it was state of the art. So give it a little love, and I love watching movies and seeing how they deal with things that they had to get done because there was no CG. Now that you have CG, there's pretty, all bets are off. You can pretty much do anything if you've got the money, and sometimes they do way too much. So it's a great thing. Thank you, Joe, for that information. Yes. Well, Comic Book Day is nationwide, but it's also all over the world. So a couple of comic book stores were telling me that there's a couple of Australian stores that are participating, and the UK and Europe is participating. Super exciting that it's that big, And so I know how it is. Like Saturday it's actually Saturday in some of them. So Comic Book Day is happening already. And then here we get to see it tomorrow. So if it's something that you love, please go check it out, or be like me. And you reach out to the comic book stores and you ask questions. So you can email them. They're probably going to be very busy. So do it today. Ask them if they have a limit. And then go on the Free Comic Book Day site and pick some comics, your first choice, your second choice, your third choice, so that if they're out when you get there, you have the opportunity to pick something else and get your 5 comics that you want, or your 3 comics that you want, depending on the store's limitations, right? And you can do it that way. You're not asking them while they're trying to dole out comic books. I don't know how crazy or frenzied this is. Might not be frenzied, might be very calm and casual. I don't know if people dress up. I don't know what the story is, but I'm super excited to go. I just am really excited to be a part of it. And I hope that you will join it too. Joe says Kevin Smith regularly hosts his podcast at the Scum and Villainy Cantina. How about that, Joe? Well, Kevin Smith knew more than I did because I just heard about this cantina, and this cantina just really excites the heck out of me. The couple that started it seemed very, very sweet and nice. And I read a little interview with them, and I'm touched beyond belief that they are where they are and that I had never heard of them. So I can't wait to go check it out. But thank you for that, Joe. Very kind of you to give me that. Hi, Terry. Happy Friday. Happy belated May the 4th to you as well. Thank you, Jacob. Thank you very much. Jacob, I just absolutely love the colors of your shirt that you're wearing. Yeah, my husband loves color. He's like, Terri, you're on camera. You need to have color. And then Bob Burdine and Rose Burdine of Terri's Tribe and have been friends with me for years. They brought me this shirt and I told them I was going to wear it today because I just wanted to celebrate such a lovely gift. You know, I was really touched that they gave it to me. And it's Star Wars. And you really have to look, because if you just kind of look at it laissez-faire, it just looks like a Hawaiian shirt until you really study it. And that's what's cute about it. That's what's really, really cute about it. So thank you, Jacob. Very pretty and beautiful. Thank you. Craig Miller, formerly of Lucasfilms, has suggested that May the 4th is the start of Star Wars season, kind of like Lent. That's cute. Which wraps on to May 25th, real Star Wars Day. May 10th is the festival of St. George, George Lucas's birthday. And speaking of St. George, George Lucas was at the park on May the 4th. I didn't have a Lucas signing, but my friend Robert of the Tribe did. And I said, did you go say hello? And he said, no. By the time I registered who it was, he was gone. But if it had been me, I would have walked right up and said hello. And that's just me, though. I was born and raised in Hollywood, and nothing really phases me. My husband will say that's not true. The time that I got to see Robin Williams at a Screen Actors Guild event where they are interviewed, I was a little shy because the guard was a bit aggressive, but my husband usurped, like he went around the guard while the guard was kind of snarling at me and told Robin Williams that I was the one that that did his preliminary sculpture for Circle Vision 3D. And then Robin just pushed the guard aside and said, Terri, hi, I remember you. And then we talked for like 30 minutes on a balcony at the back of the DGA, the Directors Guild Theater. It was really cool. But it was my husband that went up and said, you remember my wife? She's the one that did that sculpture when you were at Imagineering. It was awesome. It was awesome. So, but I was a little intimidated by that aggressive bulldog guard that Robin Williams had. Sorry, that supposed was to say wearing today. LOL, sorry, just kidding. No, I knew what you were saying. You don't have to apologize. You know, don't apologize. How has your sculpting been coming along? Slow, very slow, because now I am doing, Robert Anderson says I should call them as I see them. So the Cheshire Cat is ready to be delivered, guys. The Cheshire Cat is available for purchase. Go to terrihardin.com, click on online store, and you can see how much he is. Or if you're coming to the event on the Sunday show and sale, he will be there, and you can hold him and see if he's for you. You can see how the presentation box works. Everything is an experience as far as I'm concerned. You can see the whole everything right there, and then decide if you want to adopt a cat, right? Adopt my latest impression sculpture, the Cheshire Cat. If you don't want to wait, or you want a number of your choice, know that a lot of the popular numbers are gone, because a lot of people jump in to get their 33, their 13, their whatever. And so those are gone, but there's lots of good numbers, including number 50. And in the 40s, there's numbers. You just pick 3 and ask me. There's a few low numbers. You can say, I want the lowest number of the cat. But the cat is available. And so the box I designed is all hand done. The cats are hand painted, each and every one. And a friend of mine said, even though they're a limited edition of 50, each and every one is hand painted. Okay. So there's that to start with. All right. I'm going to just pull him up here for you. Okay. So here he is, the Cheshire Cat. All right, there he is looking at you, and everyone is hand painted. And then the next thing I can tell you is the eyes and teeth glow in the dark. Did I say the eyes and teeth glow in the dark? The eyes and teeth glow in the dark. And then each box has got a cute little expression on it. Okay, and that is hand cut out by yours truly and applied to each and every one of the 50 boxes, as well as some other things that I am a factory of one, pretty much, and my husband. My husband does the shooting, the picture taking, not the shooting, the picture taking, the photography. He helps me with the studio and things like that. And then I sculpt and do things. So to answer your question, Jacob, this is now available. I have about 20 left all you do is go to terriharden.com and click on online store, and it will take you right to the Pussycat, and you can decide whether you want to adopt yourself a Cheshire Cat of your own. When you do, be sure to let me know one way or another 3 numbers that you'd like to have, and I will let you know which one that you get. Because like I said, or you can just say, I'd like the lowest number you have. Many people just say, I want your lowest edition number. Okay. And if you happen to be going to the event a week from Saturday, then, or at the show and sale a week from Sunday, you can talk to me then about what numbers are available and pick up your cat right there. You can take him. You don't have to pre-order him. Right now on the website, on my store site, it's still pre-order, and that's because I gotta be able to pack it and ship it. But I'm frantically working on the boxes. So to get back to Jacob's question about sculpting, I still have the chess set to do. I can show you how the Roly Crump Bishop is coming along. There he is, so that you guys can see him up close. Isn't he amazing? If I turn the light on, this is my favorite one, so I'm really having a good time with him. But this is the Bishop. So you can tell by my hands, and if I put it by my face, they're about 5 inches, 5.5 inches tall, and they sit on a square that is 2.5 by 2.5. The normal chess set 1.5 by 1.5, and about this big. So this is a huge chess set. You not only need the real estate, but this will be an investment when it's done. But as you can see, I'm getting very close. I still have the seat to cherry out. I have to put the detail on these two, on the arms and stuff, and then I'll have the back to do. But I'm moving right along. It's coming quite along quite well, quite well indeed. It's super cute. And if I turn the light off, because there's a lot of burning there, you can see it maybe like this. Let me turn it towards the light and then just lean it in towards you. And there he is. And then I'll turn him. Yeah, he's super neat. He's just super neat. So he is the third of the ones that I have finished. So Jacob, this is going fine. Very busy time. And then I have 2 one-of-a-kinds I've got to do. And I think I mentioned that I'll do a one-of-a-kind for you. So you got 2 ways. You can reach out to me and tell me your budget, and we'll see if we can come to a meeting of the minds if you want something that's yours and exclusively yours. Or you can reach out and say, I've always wanted an X. Can you do it? And how much is it? I do lots of one-of-a-kinds. Right now I have 2 or 3 on my table. And so there's a lot to do. But first, I want to ship out the cats from those of you who have already pre-purchased your cats, so you can get them adopted. So many of you have said, I finally got the messages in. So today is going to be a shipping day for the Cheshire Cats to get to his and her adoptive parents. But I started to say Robert Anderson should say the box the cat comes in. I should just say cat box. My husband said, don't say cat box. They'll have a different attitude. Call them feline transport carriers. But Robert Anderson said, just call them cat box. He said he thought that was pretty funny. So the cat comes in a cat box. Don't know if that really sounds good. You can tell me. But anyway, they will go out. Those that have to be shipped will go out today. They're ready to go. I just have to check off that final thing because I was waiting for feedback from you who ordered them as to whether you wanted to pick them up at the event next weekend or have me ship them. Okay? All right. Cool deals. Cool beans. Hello, Melissa Eiler. Good to see you. How are you holding up? We talked to several people who are Disney cast members in the custodial area like yourself, and they said they are pretty exhausted. They are really working double time. So we feel for you and we love you. And of course, we always love chatting with you. So thanks for popping in. Jacob says, could you show me some more image tracing tips? Talk to me, Jacob. Are you tracing paper? Do you have a, I want to say iPad. That's not right. Whatever they call, not an iPad, but one of those that you draw on. Do you have a digital device, as they say on Betu, that you use a stylus and draw with? Talk to me about what you have available to you, and we'll see if we might do a couple of those. Okay. All right. Joe Penny says, don't forget an English subtitled 35 millimeter print of Hayao Miyazaki's Kiki's Delivery Service, 1989, screens at the New Beverly Cinema near Beverly Boulevard and La Brea this Saturday and Sunday, May 7th and 8th at 2. Okay. Also, this is a great opportunity if you want to go do this. I am not available to go do this, but the Academy Theater is showing all of Miyazaki's films throughout the month of May and into June. And there's also an amazing, the Academy, not the Academy Theater, the Academy Museum, which is right next to the LA Academy. This is a lot for my mouth. Okay, so the LA County Museum of Art is right next door to the Academy Museum. Okay, the Academy Museum is doing an exhibit of Miyazaki's work, his drawings, his illustrations. It's a beautiful exhibit. I went about a month ago, and you have the opportunity to see some really cool stuff at the Academy Museum, as well as special screenings of the films as well. So if for some reason you can't make this Beverly Cinema, which honestly, the Beverly Cinema would be a really fun way to do it because you can have your popcorn and your soda and be with all the people who love Miyazaki and all of those wonderful films. And if you haven't experienced it, a good place to go would be the Beverly Cinema near Beverly and La Brea. But if you can't make it like yours truly, because she's going to be at Comic Book Day, then treat yourself to the Academy of Motion Picture Arts and Sciences and their museum, which opened up just it's a very young museum, just a couple years, and it's really amazing. It's got so many cool exhibits in there, including the Miyazaki. And also just look at their list of films. Miyazaki is very prevalent during the month of May. So if you see Kiki's and you want to see other ones like Howl's Moving Castle or Spirited Away or Totoro, this is a great time to go do it before June 5th when finally the Miyazaki exhibit will depart. So there you go. You want to make a killer museum day if you're one of those people that loves museums. This is a 2-for-1. You can go right by, and you can also see the LA County Museum of Art as well. So thank you, Joe. This just gets us in the Miyazaki feel wherever we go. So thank you. Friends of the Mouse, Bob Burdine was going to say. Indeed, Friends of the Mouse is a great group, and they're another great organization. And they're a lot of fun too. You are absolutely right, Bob Burdine. I want to get back on Patreon. So Deanna, write them, okay? Get after them. And I will try and do the same. Since I am a Patreon ambassador, I will reach to my girl that I talk to and talk to them about helping me out. But Shawshank them, girl. Let them know. Don't let them up. Just keep telling them you got to get back on. You got to get back on. That, all you wanted to do was change your form of payment. And they should help you. Okay. But don't keep this lying down. Just keep getting after them. I had to do the same thing when I switched over from a corporation to what I am now. Right. So I had to do the same thing. Sometimes it takes a little, they're in flux right now. They're doing a lot of changes. So, and then be sure to let them know that this should be easier than it's been for you. All right. Give them your feedback, because a person can't fix it if they don't know it's broken. Okay. But you keep getting them because, as far as you're concerned, your Zoom calls are still good and your Facebook page is still good. They're not affected. All right. But I appreciate you getting back on Patreon and doing your due diligence. All right. And I'm glad you told me up front about this. Okay. So I'll see what I can do too. Okay. All right. What year did they start D23? I think, and Darren Michaels might be able to kick in here and Joe Penny as well. I think it was 2010. I think it was 2010 because I was at the first one. I did a Muppets presentation. If you went to the first one and it was 2010, or you went to the first one and it, whatever date it was, I played a couple of Muppet characters on a recreation of the Mark Twain for their big event where they unfolded. They announced that the Muppets were coming. Forgive me. They announced that the Muppets were coming to Disney, and they were also making another fun and cool announcements, including Pirates of the Caribbean. And actually, Johnny Depp ran across the stage at that point, but I think it was 2010. Those of you who are really in the know, let me know if it was indeed 2010. But I was there. I was a part of it. Yeah, I was part of the whole presentation. It was a lot of fun. Yeah. You're on 3 Wikipedia pages, remember? Oh, yeah? What's the third one? I got to get a link to that. It keeps changing, Joe, and I'm very happy. Wikipedia gets that I should be a Disney legend. Disney, wake up. Let's do it. Let's do it. This D23, in honor of the 30th anniversary, let's make Terri Hardin a Disney legend, hey? In honor of the Dragon's Lair, which is the most popular attraction. Okay, I'm done digressing. Jacob says, I just looked it up, and it said that it was 2009. The first D23 Expo was held at the Anaheim Convention Center. They're all held at the Anaheim Convention Center. Food for thought. But 2009 was the, I couldn't remember if it was 2009 or 2010. It's a blur for me, actually. And it was fun. It was a lot of fun. There were some downsides to it. They were very disorganized, as I recall, but we got it together. And I remember that there was a special Star Wars celebration. And those of you who were there in 2009, you can tell me exactly what it was, because I had a little trouble. But what happened is when you went into the big hall and you saw the big presentation, Johnny Depp and Marty Sklar and Miley Cyrus and Tim Burton. A lot of people went on stage to talk, and we met quite a few of them backstage, which was really nice. But they gave you, as you exited, a small poster of one of the 3 characters. I believe it was C-3PO, Darth Vader, and C-3PO, Darth Vader, and what was the third, guys? I'm spacing on who the third was. Yoda, I think, right? Yoda, C-3PO, and Darth Vader, I think, were those 3 posters. But you were only allowed 1. They were very strict. They gave you 1. Don't take 2. Don't try and come around and get a second one or a third one. 1. You get 1. That's all you get. 1. That's all you get to have. 1. Now, those of us who were a part of the presentation, we got all 3. And they were in a nice strong tube, and I got it and tucked it away in my bag. I had the tags that were all access. I could go anywhere and everywhere, and it was very interesting. I went back into the green room and met people, and was on stage for a while doing presentations with Muppets, and but I hadn't really paid attention. They were giving us all this nice bling. They were giving us all kinds of cool things, food vouchers, all kinds of really great stuff. And I was tucking them away in this bag that they gave us. So, and a lot of times the D23 bags are pretty cool. I remember one that was like not only a bag, but a backpack. I have that somewhere. Anyway, loved it. I thought it was really clever. But I was given that. And I tucked it away. I wasn't really thinking about it, and decided to use one of my food vouchers. And I sat at one of those big round tables. Those of you who have been to D23, there's an area off to the corner that has these giant round tables where you can kind of eat the food you brought or eat the food you bought, right? And a little boy was kind of at the next table over, and he was just crying his little eyes out. I think he was dressed as Luke Skywalker. And he was just crying and crying and crying and crying. I couldn't help by looking at the mom and going, hey, what's happening? And she just kind of said, it's no big deal, but he was really sad. He was, how kids get where everything's red and the nose is running. And I thought, what could possibly have gotten this kid so sad? So I asked if I could join them, and they said, I said, can I sit at your table? And I sat. I didn't sit too close, because with little kids, sometimes a stranger can be very intimidating. And so I said to him, I said, can you tell me why you're so sad? And he got real shy, as kids will do. And his mother told me that he really wanted, he had gotten, I think he got C-3PO and he wanted Yoda, or he got Yoda and he wanted Darth Vader. The point was he had gotten one poster and he wanted the other poster. And she said she just tried like the devil to explain to him, one to a customer. They wouldn't even give it to the mom and the son, you know, one to a customer. And you know, and I was really, really sorry that he was so sad. And I said, well, listen, you know, if you can, you know, dry your eyes and take a breath and maybe have a drink of water, I might be able to help you. And he looked up with big round eyes. And I said, I'll bet you. And I reached into my bag and I pulled out this tube. And I said, I don't know what's in here. Shall I open it up? Shall we look together? And I popped it boom, at the end and pulled out these, what I knew were probably these posters, and laid them out. And I had all three, of course, because being a presenter, you get all the bling, right? And his eyes lit up and I said, would you be willing to trade your whoever it was for these three? Now, instead of just getting your favorite person, Yoda or Darth Vader, or I don't even know, I'll take yours, which is just one, and I'll give you all three. Will that make you happy? And he just lit up. So I gently rolled him up in the tube. I said, keep him in the tube. And put him in your bag. And he put him in his bag. And I said, I'll take that one. And he gave me that one, a little tear stained, but I still have it because it helps me with the memory. It really touched my heart. It's when I say do something nice for someone else, it'll make you feel so much better. And it just goes through your whole body, that warmth of his sight, and to see a little kid kind of dry his tears and all of a sudden become hungry and eat that burger that he's been tear stoking for about the last 15 minutes. And his mother said, you don't have to do that. And I was like, of course I do. There's a reason I sat here, and there's a reason you sat there. And I guess the reason is because he deserved to have this poster set. So he got the poster set, and she said, how did you get all three? And I said, you see this all access pack. I'm a Muppeteer, and I just did the Muppet presentation. Oh, we saw that, you know. I've been a Muppet performer since blah, 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 you know, and did this and did that, blah, 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 blah. Because that's what you do. You know, I designed Dragon's Lair. I'm an Imagineer, blah, blah, blah. They were, you know, they're very excited. I think that's the blessing of not being too known, because then you can decide who you reveal it to and who you don't reveal it to. But again, this particular D23, that was my happy moment. That was a big happy moment for me. And I think it's because that I was able to do something simple. And, you know, and there were Star Wars posters. When you give, it's nice to give something that you would like to have. And I would have liked to have kept those posters. But I mean, really, what am I going to do with them? Seriously, right? What? You know, more for my wall. Yeah. I mean, you guys know what it's like when you like everything and you're all of a sudden you got wallpaper. Yeah. So that's what was special to me about it. So that there were some good points of D23, but they weren't necessarily as a result of the D23 people who put it on. There was a lot of sadness there that year too. Hope you enjoyed May the 4th. I did, Joseph Massey. It was amazing. I got my second booster on the 5th, and now I've gotten Revenge of the 6th, where I can't lift my arm without being in pain. I got my booster too, and had a fever for a few days. The nurse at the thing said, that means your antibodies are working. You know what I said to that? Ray. I mean, it's really a good thing, but we don't like being sick, do we? Which is why I still wear a mask outside. I don't complain about it, because what's really nice about it is that all kinds of little idiosyncratic illnesses that you might be exposed to are protected when you wear the mask. And I really like that. I get rarely, I'm sick rarely anyway, but this just gives me no sickness. So knock on wood. And I always wear a mask just to be safe from all illnesses, including the pandemic. So I don't have a problem with it. I actually really, really, really find it, it's a blessing. Yeah, it's a blessing for me. They could have asked me to wear a hazmat suit and I just wouldn't have liked that at all. So the mask is no big deal for me, and I really appreciate that it keeps me well, because I just couldn't find a time when I wanted to be sick. I just kept thinking, raise your hand if you could pick a time when you really want to be sick. It's just not. So to me, it's a lot of belly aching for nothing. Just wear it, if you don't want to be sick. And I mean across the board. Across the board. Do you ever do any Star Wars sculptures? I actually am considering doing a Grogu. I wasn't going to do a Grogu because Grogu's everywhere, but people are writing to me and begging me to do a Grogu. Years ago, I did Luke Skywalker on a tauntaun for a special event, and I did it at a Sculpey, and it was only mildly good. And then I did my Yoda puppet. Okay, so let's see if I can find it here. I don't think I was smart enough to write, which I should have done. Woulda, coulda, shoulda done the Star Wars thing, but no. Let me see. Yeah, you can see him here a little bit. Here I am when it was a costume contest as opposed to cosplay. This is me. I'm known as the New Hope. This is shortly after Empire Strikes Back. I made this entire outfit, including the lightsaber and the gun belt you see here. A friend of mine built the blaster, and then I sculpted this Yoda puppet using scissors, Fiskars. So do you know what Fiskars are? I'll show you. These are Fisker scissors right here, and I'll show them to you in close-up again. But I sculpted all of Yoda using these scissors. Ping pong ball eyeballs, and I made the outfit. I got the boots. I look just like it is Luke's Bespin outfit. And then I put that emblem on my hat, and then said I was a New Hope, that the New Hope was a when Yoda says, there is another, I said the other was a female. And of course, the other ended up being a female, Princess Leia, but that's not what my guess was. But yes, this is one of the pictures. I'm going to look and see if I have any others that can help you with the look of me. Here's a couple of other things I did. I did this Wookiee. I was a Wookiee. This is me in college walking around as the Wookiee. I built my Wookiee. I'm actually 7'3" tall. I am on lifts walking around. In order for my Wookiee to look correctly, I had to get magazines from Tokyo, because Tokyo had no copyright infringement laws. And so those were the first pictures, detailed pictures of the ships and the characters and the creatures from Star Wars. I had to order from Japan. They came from me from Japan. Like I said, when there's a will, there's a way. When you're ready to Shawshank someone, you do. And that's the case there. I won with my my Yoda. Here's another really good picture of him here. There you go. There I am there with my Yoda. And you can see ping pong hand-painted eyeballs. I sculpted the entire face, hair, outfit, everything, and did a presentation that took down the house. If you were someone who happened to be at a convention and you saw this show, you know it because you surprised me a bit with it. So I was going to try and bring him out right now. He's made out of mattress foam, so he's a little crusty because he's old. He's like from 1980. But like the Mermaid Tales from 1980 also. Yeah, I built that too, but that's not from Star Wars. But what I'm saying is, yeah. So back in the day when things were called costume contests, not cosplay, this was what we did at various conventions all over. And I found out from my friend Judy Moore that she did costume setups too, which is kind of exciting. But this one is the one that took down the house. My Yoda and A New Hope really brought in the bacon. I won several awards, and but people just went gaga for this. They just went crazy when they saw this puppet. And so I'm thinking in honor of doing that. I'm also doing some Star Wars cachets, which are illustrations on envelopes, for the first day cachets, because they released some stamps based on Star Wars. So I'm thinking of doing those, and those will be available soon. I will keep you posted. But these are the scissors. These are Fiskars. And I just did that to make Yoda. So I know you're looking at me going, what? But it's true. I took the mattress out of my couch and carved him from that. My parents weren't really that happy about me doing that, but you use the materials around you when you are obsessed and passionate, right? Yep. So thank you for that question, Joe. I appreciate it. A little bit slow. Yeah, a little bit slow on the thing, but that's because sometimes the Wi-Fi gets weird. Were you in a Muppet Classic Theater VHS tape? Yes, Muppet Mini Classics. I played a zebra, among other things. But the Henson people loved to give me things like zebras and chickens because zebra, I'm half black, half white, zebra. And serious, true story. And the other one was chickens because I do the Foster Farms chickens here at home on the West Coast. So Jim and everybody had a little bit of a when they gave me those characters. So, and that was fun. It was joyful for me too. I love zebras. I love being a zebra. So I'm very proud to be both black and white. Of course I am. Am I the only one that is seeing Terri's mouth move and then hearing what she said in a delay? Sometimes, yes. That's what I was talking about. You have a little bit of a delay sometimes, Deanna, because the Wi-Fi with StreamYard can sometimes, yeah. But I checked everything to make sure it wasn't yours truly, because sometimes it can be me. Sometimes when there is a delay, it's because I forgot to plug my computer in. I get so excited about speaking to you guys, I forget to give my computer power and it starts to choke. But it's got power. It's just that every once in a while up here, it shows me that their Wi-Fi connection is weird. I've got a great one here, but for some reason it just goes, so just be patient and it will fix itself. It will right itself. I just keep talking. And some people say rebooting. I don't know that it's your fault though, honestly. Yep. I don't know if it's your fault. Your fault. Help to refresh. There you go. Good job. You guys are so good. Joe, you take care of people. Graphics pad. Yeah. Is that what it's called? A graphics pad? Yeah. With a stylus and everything. I have an iPad, so I call, I'm an Apple girl. And I'm not an Apple girl because I'm so obsessed with Apple. I love the way Apple interacts with itself. So the phone interacts with the pad, interacts with my computer, and the whole thing is like, so I don't have to learn. I don't have to relearn stuff. Android used to drive me crazy because every time I got a new phone, I had to relearn a bunch of stuff. Whereas with Apple, I upload it to the cloud, get my new phone, download it, and only have to learn the new stuff. So I really am about the Apple products. I just love them. I tried doing a PC because I learned on PC originally. I'm that old. And then I was introduced to Apple, and I'm afraid I'm handcuffed to the product. And soon I'm going to invest in a watch because Apple products have decided to help the silver-eared people to hear better. And the watch is going to monitor blood pressure, blood sugar, eventually, all your health vitals, which I could really use. And then you may have seen that Apple commercial where a hiker fell and the watch tried to reach him. And when they couldn't, they sent an ambulance out and found him and saved his life. So the watches are now where I thought I didn't need a watch, an Apple Watch. It just seemed like an extra thing. Now it's very vital to my health, especially if I'm going to be alone doing some wild and crazy projects. It really would have helped when I was turning wood, because if wood flies up and, sometimes wood is a natural product, obviously, and sometimes you might hit a hole or an area inside the wood that's unstable and it can shatter. And if you're by yourself, you need to be able, if you're hit or hurt, you need to be able to reach out to someone. And this watch is something that I think will be a real asset, but not yet. It's got most of the things that I want, but Apple informs me they've got a couple other things that are happening. So I'm going to wait until there's a couple of vitals I really need. And as soon as they have that, I'm going to jump on it and get one. So very excited about the Apple products. Hello, Dennis Ritchie. Good morning from Fullerton. And how is Fullerton today? I am tracing on my iPad and the computer. Okay, great. So you remember, Jacob, that I can't really show you how to trace on the iPad because it doesn't allow me to show you all the details, but I can I can try to show you what I've got, okay? So let me just pop over to Fresco. So I use Fresco, which is an Adobe product you have to pay for. It's a subscription. You can subscribe to one thing for a certain price or everything for another price. I use Photoshop, Premiere, Fresco, Illustrator. I use a lot of Adobe products, so it's worth it for me to be a subscriber. Of course, I'd much rather not be a subscriber, but as you know, many platforms are realizing if they make you subscribe, they got you every year. So there I am stuck, right? So let's talk about a tracing. Let me see my Bugs Bunny. I didn't trace Bugs Bunny. I didn't trace him because I don't know what I was doing, but let me see if there's anything that I traced. Well, there's my picture. I traced me for my first painting. Let's see if it's there so that you can see it. Okay. Yeah. Here we go. Okay. So let's first, let's see if it doesn't look like it shows you my layers, which is what I was hoping you could see, Jacob, but for some reason, because of the program, it doesn't allow it. And Procreate is another program where you can enjoy the same thing, but it's free. I don't know Procreate as well, but basically, you take your stylus or in this case, it's an Apple Pencil down here in the bottom here. You take this Apple Pencil and you cannot see me actually. I mean, maybe you can, but what I'll do is let's see what camera 3's got here for you. Okay, so this kind of shows you. Let me see. I don't have a lot of cord, but this kind of shows you what's going on. There we go. Okay, so over here are the different layers. That's those squares you see that are stacked like chiclets. And then here is my photograph. Now, what I've done here is put in a photograph. This is my first painting that I ever did, my first painting. And the teacher said, take a photograph of your subject. My subject was me, so I didn't have to listen to a lot of complaining if it didn't look like anybody. I didn't really care if it didn't look like me. It was my first painting. Follow? Okay, so we're looking at this right here, which is my photograph. And if I tap on this square right here, it gives me some options. If I tap it again, if I come up here, these are, you can't really see them, but they're little sliders in the program, okay? And here, which you also, I'm apologize, you can't really see either, is a toggle switch that allows it to darken. You see how it's darkening? My hand's in front of it, but in fact, I can kind of do it like this with my left. I am ambidextrous. But you see, if we take it to 100%, it comes in. But if you do this, it makes it softer. You see that, Jacob? Okay, so I put it about there. And then I tap that toggle switch and it goes away. Now I still have my layers right here, correct? And then the next thing I do is pop up a blank layer. In this case, I have it already. I'm going to show you. I'm going to say to show it. That's the eye. And I don't know if you can see this very well. You can't really see it very well there. So let's cut to here so you can see it. You can see how it won't go in, but you can see how there are lines being traced over. My teacher taught me, back to 3. My first teacher said, you got a photo like this, and then you trace the main areas. I traced most of my dreadlocks, and I traced most of my just features I thought would help me, a few wrinkles and whatever. And if I cut back to 4, you can kind of see it here, that. And if I turn off the photo, if I get, you'll see, there it is. So there's the sketch right there, Joseph. So I just took a particular pencil. Let me go back to this. I just took a particular pencil. In my case, I have the Apple Pencil. but any, the stylist, and traced over the illustration or the image, right? So if we cut back to camera 4 and me on camera 1, you can see that now I have this image that I traced, okay? So that is an example of, if you want to learn how to do cats or dogs or whatever, you trace what's important to you, right? You trace what, and it takes some push me pull you, some back and forth, right? It takes some push me pull you and back and forth, but you just trace it and then you print it out. If you're going to paint it, okay? So let me then show you. It's a little dusty. Here's my painting that I did. All right. Now, it may not look exactly like me, but I don't care. This was my training. Okay. I'm going to tilt it forward so it doesn't have a lot of reflection on it. But this is the painting that I have that I did. And what I did was I started in a gray color, a light, soft gray. She taught us how to gesso it. She taught us how to then, gessoing meaning covering the canvas so it's not as bumpy. I kind of like the bumps. And then we painted with her going with us. And it was all on an online course because I want to eventually teach some courses, maybe not jump into painting. I probably will, but I'm going to do it differently than she did. But my point is, here is this. And if we cut back to the sketch, there's the sketch. The sketch was transferred onto the canvas, and then I used it as a guide to paint the picture. Okay. Does that make sense? So, so there you go. That's kind of what I do when I'm getting ready to do a painting. Now, I just finished a Bugs Bunny painting for, I probably shouldn't tell you because I'm not supposed to say which one, so I can't show it to you. But I did one, and I didn't trace it. I basically had, I was doing my own interpretation of bugs. So you can do, you can have photos of the characters that you want to portray, and then you can kind of sketch. The key is the layers. You use as many layers as you possibly can because you can go back and forth, back and forth, back and forth to sketch them out the way that you want to. So I put a picture in front of me. Maybe it's on my phone or something, or I print it out, and then I'll sketch it freehand. Or if you're looking to draw a Mickey Mouse, you can grab a Mickey Mouse. You can fade him out like I did with my picture, right? And then you can trace the key components. You can fade that out, and then you can try freehanding it until your arm has the memory. I will eventually be doing tutorials on this through my Patreon page, but right now I've got to get the chess set done. I've got to get the chess set done. It's not fair to assume that someone in their 90s is going to live forever as much as I want him to live forever. What my wants may not be God's wants, so I have to really focus on that. And so as soon as I get the cats out and get ready for my presentation a week from Saturday and my show and sale on Sunday, I'm back on the Bishop. Yeah. I'm really working hard to get these done so that Rolly Crump can have them in his hands, because it's not fair to assume. I mean, let's take Betty White. We were sure she was going to make it to 100, and then she crossed over. So I cannot take for granted that people that I love that are in their 90s are going to be around forever. People that I love that are in their 70s or their 60s, I just can't take for granted that people are going to be here forever. So I need to get working every single day. I can't be lazy about it. I hope you guys understand it. But anyway, I hope this helps you, Jacob. I know it's a little bit more vague than what you wanted, but that is how I did it. So if we go back to the sketch, there's the sketch. If I fire up the illustration, if I show you, there's the illustration. So I can toggle between them. Picture of me, sketch, picture of me, sketch. And all it is just tracing some features that I thought were important. Now, because this was my first painting, I did more than I actually needed. I was really grateful for the dreadlocks, because when I painted my dreadlocks, I painted them 6 or 7 times because they needed to look dreadlocky. And I'm really proud of how they actually look like dreadlocks. So I painted them over and over and over again, which is where you have the comfort of, this is acrylic. So I'd never worked in acrylic in a long time. The other thing I love is this background. Okay. So originally this background was like a mint green and I hated it. So I changed it. And then I made it mottled. I'm really proud. I think this might be a little bit hot here. I could probably tone it down, but I'm leaving it alone because it's my first. I'm not going back and reworking it and reworking it and reworking it because it's my first one and I'm very proud of my first one. And so now I'm taking several other classes, haven't been able to be present, which is why I love them online, because they go at my pace and I'm a turtle. I'm working on my sculptures. I've got things that require me to finish, so I don't get to play as much as I'd like. But whenever I do, I'm painting because I want to be able to paint. I like painting, and it's always eluded me. When I first did acrylics, it was a disaster, but acrylics have come a long way, baby. And there's some really fun ones out there. So I'm learning about the different types of paint. And then eventually I will share with you my spin, because if you've looked at YouTube and you say there are hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of how to paint, how to draw classes, there's never going to be a how-to class the way you're going to do it. And you're going to connect with people, in some cases where none of the others will. So if you want to do a how-to channel, don't sit there and say you can't do it, because your thoughts matter, your take matters, and you might just be the person that connects with somebody when it comes to teaching them what they want to learn. So if you want to start a channel and how-to channel, please don't give up. Just go for it. Just start filming. Use your phone. Many of you remember my very first broadcast where I didn't know how to turn my phone. Okay. I just couldn't figure out how to turn my phone. So that was my challenge, is trying to learn how to turn my phone so that the picture went this way. It was just crazy. It was stupid looking, but it's one of the most popular videos because it's me going, how do I get this to, yeah, it's silly, but it was my very first one and everybody really enjoyed it and thought it was fun. So there you go. What are some of your favorite memories of working with Disney in the 80s? I have a lot of 80s exciting memories, actually. I joined Disney in 1987 as an Imagineer originally, and I was in-house for about 10 years, and now I am the come here, get away Imagineer. Which means that when they need me, they open a box and out I pop. Hi, how are you? And then I go and work on something like Galaxy's Edge if it's behind, Shanghai if it's behind. I'm building an attraction and we're behind. Terri, can you come out and help us catch up? Because I really am fast when it comes to that kind of carving. And sometimes I'm available and sometimes I'm not. So it's interesting. One of my favorite 80s memory was actually a 90s memory, I think, when we had the Pirates of the Caribbean. We were talking about this Wednesday when we had our May the 4th gathering. And I told him about the time that Existencio, whose voice is prevalent all through Pirates of the Caribbean, sat next to me on the ride and went through all of the voices that he does on that ride and the song. It's a true story. Yeah. That was by far one of the most exciting things that has happened to me in my life. In the 80s, Tony Baxter said to me one time when we were sitting together, and he was my boss. He was the one that I kind of answered to. Once we met, I answered to him he came to see me quite a bit. I'm just dusting. There's some goobies. It's amazing when you go, ooh, that's a gooby. What is that? Okay. Anyway, Tony Baxter said to me, I was an Imagineer in-house during one of the best times Imagineering was in full swing. And I said, well, what about Walt? And he said, that was really cool too, but this was amazing. And that was when we were getting ready to put our first park outside of the United States. As you all know, Disneyland Paris. Paris Disneyland, Euro Disneyland, as it opened and I know it as, okay? Euro Disneyland. Anyway, Anyway, there was lots of excitement, lots of energy. We had Canal Plus with us doing their bit and working with them hand in glove to make Euro Disneyland a wonderful experience for the French. And one of the best opportunities was that um, Herbie Ryman. I met lots of Disney legends when I was there. Ken Anderson, Ward Kimball, people I absolutely flipping adored. Tony Baxter, Marty Sklar, you name it. And they were just this huge entourage. Frank Thomas, the Sherman brothers. Just make a list and I'll tell you, yes, 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 yes. It was just amazing that they came across because they all wanted to see how this new French park was going to be built and how it was going to differ from the ones in the United States. So we met so many wonderful, wonderful, imaginative people, and we brainstormed with a lot of them as well. So Herbie found it fascinating to watch me sculpt, not because I was so good, but I had all of these, you may have noticed, stories. And so we would banter back and forth about stories. We would tell stories to each other. And there's nothing like having such an amazing legend who I called my cowardly lion. He was always like this big smile. Terri, you're so funny. He was just so much fun to be around, as was yeah. If you ask me what memory, it's kind of hard, but Herbie Ryman, it was just, it was cool. It was cool. And then it was the Disney fan club, and I think they were still the NFFC. Bob Burdine would be able to tell me. Maybe some of you who have been with the NFFC for a long time would be able to tell me. But they used to have these amazing Ryman Arts auctions, and one of them was Herbie Ryman's, some things from Herbie Ryman's table, and I have it, and it's in my office, and I just love it. Like, I love it so much. It just makes my heart go bitty pat. It's just his paintbrush and a drawing, little sketch he did, and it's in a shadow box. And it's like it brings back all the memories of being with him. As I just am crazy about him. Crazy about him. Crazy about everybody. But he usually just come by my table and sit and watch me do my stuff and listen to stories. We would share stories. He would ask me, what was it like when you were a kid and what made you come here? And stuff like that. So thank you for asking me that question, Jacob. Deanna, I messaged them. That a girl. You just keep messaging them. You know what I'm saying? Hit them. Because sometimes they get wrapped up. People get wrapped up in their own thing. And if they don't answer you in what you feel is a timely fashion, do what I do, Shawshank him. You ever see Shawshank Redemption when he writes letters to get the library and then he writes more letters to get, and I call it Shawshanking. So it's what I do. And you don't have to rewrite your email. Just resend the same one. Just send it. Keep messaging them or same message. Just pretty soon they'll go, this person really needs an answer. But give them a little time. They are a great group of people. Just sometimes they're a little slow in answering you. Yeah. So thank you for telling me. And if you get really fed up, let me know. I am going to ask my since I've been made a ambassador, I'm going to go ask them directly too. So I'll ask them also to maybe make this a little more streamlined. So, hi, Elna. How are you? Just wanted to say hi. She says, always fun to do something to seeing you do your thing on Facebook. And I love her little picture. This picture is so cute. I love it. Thanks, sweetie. That's so sweet of you. I'm really tripping on your little picture. It's really cute. Deanna says, I can't get on the tribe page. You can't? That's weird. Oh, you mean on Facebook? Let me see if I can fix that, okay? I'll look at that because you should be able to because they're not connected. Patreon has our Facebook pages are ours to do. So if you're having trouble getting on the Facebook page, I'm glad you said something. Let me see if I can fix that, okay? Do me a favor. Are you off the Facebook page? Because if you are, ask for approval again, and I'll let you in, okay? Go in and say, I want to be a member because I have no idea why you're not on there. And I'll fix that, okay? And it says Deanna on your name. If it doesn't say Deanna, when you ask to join, be sure that I know it's you, okay? Because if I don't know it's you, I don't let people in unless they're tribe members, because that's a very private page only for Terri's tribe, as you know. Yes, Deanna. But as long as it's you, if you're not on there, just ask to rejoin and I'll get you in there, okay? Good morning, says Paul. I think that D23 began in 2008. Oh, ba-ba-bum. and the first expo was 2009. Ah, so you're even splitting more hairs. Thanks, Paul. I didn't realize there's I do know that D23 asked a lot of people like you and members of the Disney-ANA fan club and members of other clubs how to run their organization, and then did everything the opposite of what you guys kindly asked them to do. I remember hearing that. First D23 Expo 2009, which is what Paul said. He said that D23 did something in 2008. But you see, if we go back, he's not saying D23 is an expo in 08. He's saying the expo was 2009. That's what I was a part of. But it actually became effective, D23 did, in 2008. That's what Paul's saying, okay? So, okay, cool. Leo says, the main thing was it wasn't 2010. Had to be 2009. It was. The first one was 2009. And what Leo is saying here is it does it every 2 years. Yeah. So there you go. That's adorable. Jacob answers his own questions. Good for you, Jacob. That's the way it should be. Deanna says, how are you feeling, Leo? Which is what we asked. Leo says, definitely 2009, but Johnny Depp was not part of the expo that year. If I was there in 2009 and you guys saw the Muppet, and you guys saw the Muppets on a replica of the Mark, Johnny Depp was there. I know, because he came and said hello to all of us, and then he ran across the stage. He did not stay on the stage. He simply dressed as Jack Sparrow, ran across the stage, ran backstage, and ran out the door. That's how fast it was. He stopped to say hello to the Muppets because, like many people, Muppets are their favorite characters, and they remember them from their childhood. So we were told not to talk to the celebrities, but they didn't tell the celebrities not to talk to the Muppets. And they just couldn't stand not talking to the Muppets. Every single group that came backstage to do something had to stop and speak with the Muppets because they remember the Muppets when they were kids. So, and we as puppeteers and as Muppeteers are very generous because we understand the Jim Henson brand is about all of the fun that you had when you saw the original show. And how lovely is it that you get to see the original show on Disney Plus? That's a real reason to subscribe, isn't it? Yep. So there you go, Leo. There's my hat in the ring. Depp was the surprise. Yes, he was. I'm serious. He popped up. We were standing to get ready to board the Mark Twain as our characters, and he went like this to us, and we all did this with hands. Like he walked through and all everybody's hands, and it was great. It was great. It was very sweet of him to take a minute to just say hello, but he loved the Muppets. He loves the Muppets. Let me say that. He's not gone. And so there you go. That's the situation there. Depp was a surprise Disney legend in 2015. Yeah, that must have been interesting. I wonder how they're feeling now. And that's all I'm going to say about that. Terri Hardin, Clark Kent at D23 until she reveals her secret identity. Yes. No capes. Thank you, Joe. Bob Burdine says, NFFC Disney-ANA first convention was 1985. I remember so well because my wife was pregnant. Our son was born September of 1985. I do know that shortly after I became an Imagineer, the NFFC and Disney-ANA group was the first to invite me to speak on stage in front of people. And I was with the great Sam McKim, map maker to Disney for quite a long time. Those big maps that he did those, and he was always the map person. He's got a huge, wonderful history. His son Matt McKim is the same. But we were back behind the stage, and we were going to give a presentation on maps. Myself, Sam McKim, and Nina Ray Vaughn. And I remember that Jay came down and said, you each have about 20 minutes. And Terri, how do you feel about that? Can you fill it? And I said, you know what, Jay, you need to go to the back of the auditorium or on the side here and let me know when the 5-minute mark is, because you guys know how I talk. And I said, I have no fear of speaking whatsoever. I have done it since I was a little girl. So I love the camera and I love sharing. So that was not going to cause a problem, but I needed Jay to go, bop, 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 stop. We need to keep on schedule. And that's what he did. He would go like this. No, 5 minutes. So I would wrap it up. So it was a great day. All the people, all the fans taught me a lot that day. Yep, they taught me a lot that day. Waterproof dressing came off, and I'm really bruised. So Leo is telling you about how he's doing. Explains the lingering pain, tenderness, which should dissipate further as I continue to heal and do my physical therapy. Mood is upbeat. Isn't that nice? There you go. There's the Leo Holzer report. I'm so glad you're doing well, Leo. Did you see the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame inductees for 2022? I saw Dolly Parton. Whoop, whoop. Of course I heard Dolly Parton. I could have been in a sound booth that was soundproof. And when they announced Dolly Parton, I would have heard it. I was so excited for her. I'm excited for the other inductees too. But Dolly Parton, since I worked with her, I am very excited that she is an inductee. I'm very proud and honored. It's about time. It's like my Legends Award that Disney should be giving me. I mean, come on. Dolly has been this inductee, should have been years ago, but better late than never. Yay, Dolly. I'm happy for you. So she gives me hope because she's amazing. And I know that I could very easily become a Disney legend, acknowledged by Disney, and be, like Dolly and go, finally. I would never say that on stage though, but all you would be thinking it, right? Because you're on my channel and you know how I act. I remember when you brought your Yoda puppet and were in costume at a science fiction convention. We both attended in 81. It was probably a Doug Wright con at the Sheridan Plaza, La Reina near LAX. Yep. Doug Wright con. Do you remember Doug Wright, Joe? Who used to penalize you if your name, like he wouldn't let you in his convention if your name was too close to one of the characters from Star Wars. I told this story too. There was a woman whose last name was officially Skywalker because she was Native American. And he wouldn't let him in because Skywalker was next to Luke Skywalker. She was like, seriously? He was pretty nutty. He was pretty nutty. I remember just going, really? Who cares? But he had a thing. I don't know if you remember that, Joe, but he sure did. Visuals are my favorite. Visuals are my favorite scissors. I have multiple sizes and shapes. Yeah, they are. Fiskars were mine because they were cheap. My very, very favorite. They were just inexpensive, and you're a kid. I mean, you see me here. How old am I here? I'm a kid here. I'm a kid. Okay, and my parents just couldn't get over how I could look at something and recreate the outfit stitch for stitch. I also did some amazing outfits for Battlestar Galactica. And you remember that some of those were just like, oh my God, like the Cylons. I looked at that and said, oh my God, I made one, but oh my God. A lot of work, those costumes, to break them down. But I just looked at them and said, okay, let's make it happen. And it did. So, yeah, I love them. Fiskars. Okay, Bob says they're his favorite scissors too. Yeah, just about any size. And a lot of times they come in a pack with all different sizes. And they're like $1.98, or at least they were back then. They're great scissors. They were just great. Kept their edge for some weird reason. I don't know. Used them on fabric. It's very important. One of the things that if you are a cosplayer, the first thing you're going to say is Fabric scissors stay with fabric, paper scissors stay with paper, and never the two shall cross. Okay, because once you take a fabric scissor and cut paper, it dulls it quicker than if you leave it with fabric. So just so you know, you should have dedicated scissors. If you're a cosplayer, you already know this. You'll be like, hey, tell me something I don't know. And there you go. Good to hear you're on the mend, says Bob. After the wound seals and heals, mouthwash helps with the bruising and pain. Sounds crazy, but it helps. Look how nice. This is typical tribe behavior. It's just so you know, in case you want to be part of the tribe. Where can I find info on Muppet Mini Classics? I really can't find anything on Google about it. And that up is and all that's up is Muppet Classic Theater. Muppet Classic Theater may have the mini classics inside, and somewhere I have the DVD. Somewhere in my garage is the VHS. I don't think it ever went to DVD, but you might Google it on YouTube. Somebody found, and anytime you find some of my old stuff, I try to put it in my playlist on my YouTube channel, and it's called Early Puppet Performances on my playlist. You can go to my playlist and watch those. So the very first commercial I did that got me my Screen Actors Guild Union card is there now because of you guys finding it for me. And the United Air Express envelope commercial I told you about that got me Taft-Hartley in order to get my SAG card is in there now. So there's several pieces of my early stuff are in there because you guys say, hey, I looked at this up on YouTube and there it is. And then you sent me the link and I included that link in my playlist. So I try to put as much as I can in my playlist. If I come across my Muppet Mini Classics, I will put that in too. It's in my reel. And I probably speak Ubu. I probably should put my reel up so you can see that too. And I will see if I can do that. It's long and tiresome and it's old, but I'll try and show it to you. And there, one of the sequence in Muppets Mini Classics that'll let you know it's right is got to get that name, got to get that name, got to get that name, got to get that name. We got to get that name, get that name. And the weasel that dances is Brian. And then I have a little zebra in the background. We've got to get that name. We've got to get that name. And then, yeah, that's in there. Can't remember what it was actually for. I used it because then my name bounces in for my reel when I had my performance reel that I used to put out to people who were looking to see, what does Terri do? Here's what Terri does. So there you go. Best I can do. What software do you use to bring our posts on the screen? I am on StreamYard. So have you guys heard of StreamYard? It's usually a little mallard duck up here. You can use the free version until you're sure you love it. And it's a little mallard duck. It's called StreamYard. And I have a group that teaches me how to better do a group that helped me to get on to broadcast because I really had trouble figuring out how to post to YouTube. They helped me do that. And then they helped me to do lives, which you see 99.9% of everything I do is live because I'm very busy. But my husband and I are currently working on some tutorial videos and some behind the scenes videos that we post on the Patreon page. So I'm about to post another one actually, because it's probably about time that I do that, is post another behind the scenes. I usually do one a month. And then if I'm really super zealous, I post a second one. That's for the $10 level, $10 a month. $120 a year, you can be behind the scenes and see some of the photos and pictures that I do behind the scenes. I've gone to see, I show some Harry Potter because I went and walked that by myself and then with my husband. And then I show my Jurassic Park when I went to a premiere of that and got to walk and sit and touch a lot of the props and big monsters and stuff. And then my husband did a walkthrough Universal, and we're about to post that because he took a lot of pictures that of things that don't exist at Universal Studios anymore. And so we'll be posting that as well. So I'm a little slow because I've got a lot of sculpture to do, but I will be doing that. Some special things. They're exclusive to Patreon. They don't necessarily make it all to the YouTube channel. That's the $10 a month tier level. But $5 a month is perfectly fine. You get a lot for what you get. But if you want to see that behind the scenes, that's the $10 level. And eventually we'll be doing tutorials, and that's going to be a little more of an investment on your part if you want to learn. But I will keep you posted here. You know I will, because that's what I do. But it's StreamYard. Just to let you know, StreamYard is great. Look them up. They are fantastic. It's a mallard duck with headphones. And that is the free space. The mallard stays up here. And those of you who've been with me for a while may have noticed that there was a mallard there, because I wanted to see if I was good with StreamYard. Not so much StreamYard, but me with StreamYard. And there's so much more you can do with StreamYard that I don't do. I keep it very simple because, it's just too much on my plate when it comes to this is not necessarily that easy for me. I'm going to say because I'm almost 65, but honestly, I'm really about talking one-on-one with you. And that's why the May the 4th gathering was so special, because we were all right there in person. And I missed that. And I'm going to love next week, a week from Saturday and Sunday, when I get to see a lot of you in person. It's important. I miss that. And I think a lot of us who are used to that, really used to that, are feeling empty, because that's a piece of our DNA that we have not been able to exercise and be near people. And I just love it. So it's very important. Once you pay for a level of StreamYard, you get to put your logo up here. And if you pay a little more, you get to actually link stuff in there. But for now, this is my speed. Just let me have my logo up there and be able to post comments here, and I'm good. So I can also interview people, but interviewing people involves others. And so I'm not real eager to do that. But one of the people in the tribe, a couple people in my tribe, one of them being Josiah, he's an amazing interviewer, and he's going to talk to me about upping my game in that area. So stay tuned. We're going to be doing some cool stuff in the future, but I do it a little bit at a time. And if you're someone who's looking to do a YouTube channel or broadcast or a TikTok, try not to eat the whole frog. There's a book called Eat That Frog. I think it's Brian Tracy, but forgive me if it's not. And he talks about, you nibble on a toe and then maybe you go to the foot rather than trying to ingest the entire frog at one time, a la Grogu. You just do a little bit at a time, get familiar with it, and then add to your basket of things you want to do carefully. That's about my speed, because I am used to being under a hot light sculpting. That's what I do by myself, sculpting. And then when the pandemic hit, many reached out and said, please, talk with us and be with us, because we're having a hard time. So that's what got us started, really. I mean, I'd done it before, but I really got into full on swing when the pandemic hit, because so many needed to have this oasis of happy place. Happy place. Yeah. Yeah. And it's pretty much happy place. Wouldn't you agree? We don't diss on things or talk about things that are depressing. Plenty of that on your news, right? And outside there. So that's what we do. Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. Judy, did I even get to let you talk? How did you transfer the image? How did you transfer the image to the canvas of your portrait? What a great question, Judy. Excellent question. So the first thing I did was, when you have Procreate, which is the free program, if you have a pad, okay, a pad, just let me say iPad, okay? I'm really struggling. Just know I'm an Apple girl. You know what it is if it's not an iPad, okay? And then you send it to one of your other platforms. So what I did was I sent it to Photoshop. Remember, I told you I'm also an Adobe girl. So through Fresco, I sent it to Photoshop. And then in Photoshop, I sized it to my canvas. Now, this canvas is 12 inches by 12 inches. It's a foot by a foot. I thought it was a nice size to do it in. And so I did 12 by 12. And so what I did is I printed one half. So it's 8 by, the paper is like, what is it, 8.5 by 11. So I printed 1/2, so maybe from here to here, and then I printed from, say, here to here, and then I taped them together physically, like scotch taped them together, right? And then I laid the canvas down like this, okay? And if we cut to camera 2, so I laid the canvas down like this, and it was blank canvas, right, Judy? So then, let me see if I have it here. Yes. Oh, I'm such a good girl. It's like I knew you were going to ask this question, okay? So here is the material. Sorel transfer paper. Sorel transfer paper. And Sorel contains no wax or grease, erases like pencil, won't smear, it washes out of fabric. Is this exciting you right now? I love this. You can ink or paint over tracing, won't skip. It can be used over and over again. And this color is blue, but it also comes in graphite. So if you look here, graphite, white, blue, which is what is in the box, yellow, and red. And here is the paper. And you just see this is like new paper because you can do it over and over again. And then you just lay it on the canvas, tape it either side, and trace with your pencil or a tool. And that's all there is to it, my lady. And then your question might be, let me get back to this. So here it is. Let me just put it, but here it is. Transfer paper, see? There it is, transfer paper. And I don't know that it comes in, I don't know if it comes in widths, but it's 12 feet by 12 inches. It says so here. And then it talks about great for decorative and toll painting, quilting, woodworking, fabric painting, ceramics, fine arts, paper canvas, stained glass, metalworking, and many other uses. I love it. I love it. I have some in red. I have some white. I have some blue. I don't have yellow. I'm not a real fan of yellow, but I love the graphite. The graphite is my favorite, which is right there. So graphite like pencil, right? And then it just traces right onto here. Now, the next thing I do is you want to make sure the drawing isn't upset by your paint. You know how when you put the drawing on, sometimes if you hit the pencil with an acrylic, it picks up some of the graphite and then makes your white. Let's say you paint white or you paint this and you pick up the graphite. So what you end up doing is you base it very gently with a thin, you do a coat of acrylic that is pretty much close to watercolor, and you very carefully, it's got to be a little more than watercolor or you'll streak it will absolutely streak the drawing that you so carefully put on here, but you do that, and then you set the drawing. You could also use a fixative, I think would work, a fixative, so that when you paint over it, it doesn't, but there's lots of acrylic things that will fix your drawing, and then when you paint it, you don't destroy your drawing or your area underneath. Yeah. So let me see if I have. That's a great question, by the way, Judy. Let me see. Let me look under painting. That's probably painting ideas. I have paintings and then I have painting ideas. So let me see. It doesn't look like I have I'm going to have to, in my paintings, actually do my journey for real. But let me see if I have a couple of breakdowns so I can show you what I mean. Because that's going to be maybe your next question is, what do you mean anchor your drawing? So let me just see if I can get to my area anchor drawing. Because I'm working on a second painting right now. It was up before. Here we go. Here is a painting that I'm doing right now of what I call the sword master, not meaning samurai sword yielder, but the builder. So I started out with a photograph that I really love of this guy. Whoops, I did this wrong. Let me do it this way first, then this way. There we go. Okay, so here is the figure, and you see how he has the sword on the side. It's kind of faded, but I just love this man, and he's from Zatoichi, the Blind Swordsman, which is one of my favorite series. And then what I did is I sketched his image, so you can see that I did my version. I tend to not necessarily distrace, but you could, you know, lay this on a thing and color over it, or you could do, but I just draw. I wanted it to be more pensive, more relaxed. So this is the sketch on the canvas, and my canvas is 18 by 24, I think. And so I did this, and then to anchor the drawing, as I said to you before, here is anchoring the drawing. So this is a yellow ochre. I just made the yellow ochre liquid enough to flow nicely and be transparent enough so I could see the drawing through the yellow ochre, but not so wet as to make streaks of the drawing. Okay. So there it is. And it didn't streak. You do about 2 coats to be safe. And then you won't be able to erase it. Okay. This is another teacher. This teacher is out of Vietnam. And so he talks in Vietnamese, and then there's the subtitles underneath. And so this is what he suggests you do. So you sketch on the canvas like this, and then you you coat it to keep it there, and then you start to paint it. So the next thing you do is put in the lights and the darks. So here you see there's the shadows that I'm doing. You can see the sword is there. This is the next phase he asks you to do. And then you go, whoops, I guess that's all I've got. I thought, whoo, it's changed. But anyway, so it progresses the way it progresses. And then here, I'm not quite done yet, but I can show you as I've added the color. There's the colors now that I've added in there. You can see the sword is coming through and the lights and darks. And this area that's behind his head, I'm probably going to play with more. You can see that in front, the light on what is his robe is just 2 colors right now. That's because I haven't finished painting. I had to set it aside while I did work that, work that pays me. But anyway, I hope that's kind of over delivering again, but this is what I use to transfer in every case. There is something that I gotta look it up, guys, but if you Google it, there is a company that will, you tell them what your image is. So I did that with this Swordmaster drawing. And I told him how big the image had to be. And then they break it down into printable paper. And sometimes it costs you something and sometimes it doesn't. It's not that expensive. Sometimes it's like $10 or something to do that. And then they send you a program where it's broken down in, let's say, 8.5 by 11 sheets. And then when you put it all together, it's the size of the canvas. So then you tape it all together, Scotch tape it, and then you do the same with the transfer paper, transfer it to the drawing. You could try and do it yourself, which is fine. But I found that this company, which I can't remember, I Googled it and then reached out to them, and it works out really good. I'm trying to remember. Just wait a second. I might have access to it back here real quick. Ow, 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 ow. Let me see if I can find it. I might only have my Chuck Jones stuff, but let me pull out this pile of stuff. Maybe it's in here. I don't know if it is because everything gets everywhere. But I've printed, and I often print light and shadows. So one of the things that I want to do when I'm doing something is I'll take pictures like this one, and you see how heavy the shadow is and how heavy the light is coming from this angle. So this will help me when I'm painting to get the proper light and shadow. So so that's that, but that's not really what I wanted to show you. I Let me just look for a touch more. Nah. I'll try to do it next time, guys. I thought I had it right. Of course I did. Thought I had it right at my fingertips, but I'll try and give you the name of that company that helps you enlarge it to your canvas size if you're interested. I'll dig around and see if I can find it. I thought it was right back there, but anyway, nope. Self-portrait painting is really cool. Thank you. It's great for a first painting. If there's any advice I can give you for those who want to do something new, it's to just know, one of the things that was actually, if there's anything great about the pandemic, one of the things that was great is you're by yourself. Nobody's over your shoulder judging you or whatever. I never care about that anyway, because not my biggest critic, but I'm the one that's going to be liking it or not. And honestly, sometimes a person will give you their opinion and it's mean. And I just ignore you. And I know it's not that simple sometimes. Sometimes it really hurts. But one of the reasons when I'm teaching pumpkin sculpting, I don't make you all do the same pumpkin sculpture, is because beginners do this. Look at his. His is better. Look at his. His is better. I can't have it. I can't have you all draw Mickey Mouse and look at each other and say why the other one's better. I don't like it. So you all pick what you want to do, and then you are your competition. You follow me? So I'm a teacher who wants you to do it over. 3 types of teachers. Remember what I told you. And the third one is the one that wants to help you do it over, and that's me. I want you to understand that art comes from you, and it may not necessarily look like everybody's else because it's coming from within you. And once you're comfortable enough to let that happen. Now, one of the things about paintings like this is they're very realistic. And this one doesn't have a lot of brush strokes. Okay. But I'm thinking that I'd like to try to be less realistic. There's so many people out there doing realistic paintings. And if I am realistic, I'd like to be more like Rembrandt, where when you go in close, you see the paint strokes. So I'm really working towards that direction where it's very abstract until it's not. And that's what I loved about some of the Rembrandts that I saw. That, there's that Rembrandt lace where he really gets crazy realistic. But when you get up on the painting, it's a lot of little strokes, and I just want to play with that. I'm so particular in my detail with sculptures. I'm so almost borderline anal when it comes to sculpting on model, especially with Disney. I'm really about nailing that look. I'm not abstract, because in Disney sculptures, you guys like them to be on model. So why not, But I'm always, even when I'm sculpting on my own, I'm doing realistic sculptures. I'm doing sculptures that they look like what they're supposed to be. If I sculpt a horse, or I sculpt I would love to sculpt a pelican because I love pelicans. It's going to look real. It's just going to be this crazy, hyper real pelican. But it's the material that it defies, which is nice because it'll be in a material that is not a real pelican. But when I'm painting, I want to be a little freer, and I'm taking all kinds of classes right now to try and find what my outcome is going to be. And those of you who know my Terry's Tribe member, Janny, let me just call her Janny G right now, but her work is great. She does some beautiful realistic stuff, but she does hyper color. She does a lot of color, real color in her interpretation. And I love looking at her work. And I say I can step back and know a Janny right away. And that's what's cool about it. You can step back and do a Janny right away. So I'm on the hunt for who am I when it comes to painting. But right now it's fun just doing the exploration. And that's what I want to encourage all of you to do. Don't stop. Just keep exploring. Because that's what makes it fun. That's what makes life fun. That's what makes life real and exciting. So, okay, there we go. Okay, yeah. So just keep it up. And don't be on yourself if you're not doing it perfect right away. I've been practicing sketching and drawing since I was 2 years old. So, cut yourself some slack, okay? It's going to take some time, but if you keep at it, it's going to be a lot of fun, you know? Thank you so much, Terry, for the tracing tips. I hope it helps, Jacob. I hope it helps. Like I said, I'm going to eventually be doing a real tutorial on it. I'm just trying to get my promises out. I got to fulfill my promises, you know. But understand that most people just keep doing it. Okay, Jacob, you just keep it up over and over and over again. You keep it up. I loved a horseback ride. And when I was training my horse, that how many of you have done rental horses because you love to ride horses, and going away from the barn, it's slower than molasses, but coming back, it takes like 2 seconds. It's like the horse got a rocket ship under his behind. With my own animal, when I owned my own horse, and I haven't owned a horse in a while because, again, time is of the essence. This is a living creature that needs attention. So don't own him just like an object, just my suggestion. But when I owned a horse, he used to be, that's called barn sour. So you ride out and they're, really slow, lumping along. And then when you come back, they practically, fly. It's like they become Pegasus and they fly. So you have to train them. That's not allowed. But you have to have the patience. So when you're drawing, you've got to have this kind of patience of over and over again to train my horse not to be barn sour and run back to the barn because he knew there were carrots and, his little water cocktail, maybe a little watermelon. So he always wanted to get back to the corral. So to keep him from doing that, you decide which direction you want to do, but you take the rein near the bit and you turn his head so he cannot fight you, and you do circles all the way back to the barn. Now, I used to train long distance riding years ago when I was younger. So I would go out for 5, 6, 7-hour rides. And 2 of those hours would be going back, training him. We're not running back to the barn, mister. So in a circle. Is it boring? Yes. It's teeth falling out boring. In a circle, as you go towards the barn. Now, then you give him his head, which means to let the reins as he's pointed forward. And the minute he starts to trot, in a circle. And the very first time I trained him, it took us 2.5 hours to get back on a ride to where the destination maybe took an hour where I trained. And he absolutely hated it. And quite frankly, so did I. But all I had to do the next time, because horses are very smart, next time all I had to do was give him a hint that we were going to go in a circle, and he slowed the heck down. So it's just like when you're trying to teach your kids something, you've got to be strong. You can't give in, because kids are really good at giving you the puppy eyes, aren't they? Your dog is the same way, and we all test. And so you have to stick to your guns. And so it's the same with learning something new with painting. If it's bad and you're getting frustrated, step away, be in the sunshine, breathe, relax, do something different, and then come back to it. It's never horrible. If it is, you just paint over it. Realize paint is flexible, and this is what I'm learning. Just paint over it and start again. Do some alterations and start again. My Chuck Jones Center for Creativity donation this year was one of those paintings where I did it one way, then I redid it another way. I came in here, I worked in here, I went like that. I went all over it. And it's like my portrait, a 12-inch by 12-inch painting. And it's for charity. I don't get paid for it, but I do get paid for it in karma points. So I can't wait till the event that happens on June 25th, because I'm curious to see how people respond to it. And I'll get to see how they respond to it online, because it'll be online for the beginning of it. I'm looking to see if someone will give it a red dot. That's my goal, because a red dot means not only $750 to the charity, but the person loved it so much they gave it the coveted red dot. It's like getting an Academy Award for your donation. You nailed it. You kind of feel like, or at least someone there loved it. And when it's a painting, that'll show me that I've progressed pretty far, that it nailed in an area that I'm not familiar with. and with a material that I'm not familiar with. So you just keep trying. You just keep, and that's what's cool. In the case of the self-portrait that you see here, I had to paint my dreadlocks several times because my teacher was a white girl, and she had that hair that is, you guys who have that hair, that it's the same dry as it is wet. Yeah, yeah. So she really couldn't help me with the dreadlocks. She had no experience with this kind of hair, and I know that she just couldn't figure out. So I painted this several times until I did on my own, based on the technique she showed me for my face and my shirt. I just figured it out here. And it wasn't overnight. This painting took me some time. It's a course where you try to do a painting in 30 days. Yeah. Yeah, mine took a little longer because I'm a turtle. But there it is. Okay. So try something new. Absolutely. And then cut yourself some slack. Give yourself a little love. Okay. Because most of my art is illustration. Most of my art is drawing. Many of you have asked me about this. This is a storyboard. I used to do storyboards to put myself through college for films and student films. I used to do their storyboards. So there you go. If I swing over this way, you see right here, this is my illustrated overalls. And that's pen and ink and fabric watercolors. So again, I usually do a sketch and paint it. So now I'm doing a brand new, whole, totally different thing, and I'm really enjoying it. And that's what you want to do, is have fun. Give yourself the joy of having fun, which is why when some of you reach out and want to sculpt, I tell you about a clay that works really well, because the plastilinas can sometimes be difficult. But Darren Michaels, he's been doing fine with the plasticine he found at Michaels. He's managed to really make that bend to his will. He's done some really cute little sculptures. And so, if it gets to be hard, though, if it's something like that that gives you trouble, then don't, reach out to me and I'll tell you it's probably the material, not you. And I'll talk to you about wet clay, okay? Deanna will tell you you can get wet clay on Amazon. It's an investment, but it's also a good chunk too. So it's a water clay, just makes life easier as you're learning how to sculpt, okay? Euro Disneyland. Euro Disneyland. Yep, my old Disneyland. Very clever, very clever. Tokyo is part of the U.S. in my book, but Tokyo was not before. The first park, Leo, was Euro Disneyland. It was the first park, then Tokyo, okay? So it was the first park outside of the United States, Euro Disneyland. Yes, indeed, it was. And it was a big deal. Everybody was a little bit nervous because trying to make a castle in the castle capital of the world, Paris, France, not easy. Yep. Lots of stories about that, which I will be telling next weekend. Yes, says Joe. NFFC, says Leo. Looking forward to Expo. Getting to visit friends is a bonus. Indeed, it will be a big bonus. It says pending on my end. Does it say pending on your end in the Facebook page or the Patreon page? Clarify that for me. And you don't have to do it here. We can actually, message each other later if you want to really get into it, okay? We'll see what's going on. Paul says, I can neither confirm nor deny that D23 asked for advice and ignored it. I will say that they seem to have to learn the same lessons again and again. That is true. And one of the things that they seem to have learned this year, which I'm very excited about, is that sorcerer program appears to be non-existent. Am I correct? And I'm really happy to see that gone, because that was really upsetting the person who bought the regular ticket. Oh, it was a nightmare. And then if I had a booth for D23, I always was by Talent Central, where all of the TV people, like your people from Once Upon a Time and your people from the various Disney shows were there to sign autographs and stuff. And I had to watch countless young people be told they couldn't be a part of that. To watch the pain of someone dressed in a Tangled outfit and they're 8 be told they can't meet their Tangled star. Ay, ay, ay. It just used to get me so upset. So I'm hoping that more and more of you, especially the kids, get to meet their idols because they're dressing up because they like what you do on TV and in the movies, and they want to meet you and shake your hand, and it's very important. And then the sorcerers would come in and grab up all the tickets, and they couldn't do it after laying on the pavement for half the night trying to get the ticket early. So I'm glad to see that may not happen. I mean, there's special seating for special events for people, but at least you can get through the store. That special event doesn't make you get into the store before anybody, and all you want is mouse ears, and they've grabbed everything up and it's on eBay before you even get through the front door of D23. It just makes me so mad. As you can see, it riles me up. Nope, never heard of Doug Wright until now. Sounds like a real goober. He's a big deal. He was a big, big deal. And there was a store. I don't know if they're still there because I haven't been out and about down Melrose, but on Melrose, there was a store called the Golden Apple. Did you guys know this comic store? I was looking to see if it was still around, and I couldn't find it. He may have renamed it. But his little boy, years ago, when we were competing, when I was a Wookiee, his little boy was Luke Skywalker, and the father had figured out how to do a lightsaber for his son. It was only about that long. But one of the coolest things was he came out and he had a battery pack, and it had a cord, back in 1980s. And he just could push a button, and it just lit because it was one of these gas tubes or whatever. It just lit up. But it was really cool to see someone. I think his son, he told me his son was like 7 or 8 at that time when it happened. And it was great. He took pictures with me as the Wookiee, and it was really fun, really fun. But they owned a store called the Golden Apple on Melrose forever. I know up until the pandemic, but I'm not quite sure what happened after the pandemic. If they renamed themselves, they closed, they moved. I don't know. I haven't been able to follow him, but I used to pop in every so often and say hello and ask him about his son, because of course now his son's all grown up. But we were at a Doug Wright con. So Doug Wright did the best cons. And the prizes in the costume cavalcade, which would be your cosplay cavalcade now, the prizes were money. Yeah, you got cash. You got cash on the barrelhead, baby. You won, you got about $100. And it was for a kid, for anybody really. Woohoo! Would you really turn down $100? No, you wouldn't. Absolutely no. So there you go. When your scissors dull, I cut aluminum, sharpens them up a bit. Not as good as new, but better than dull. Yeah, it doesn't work really well with fabric, but does work with paper. You are right. Good tip, Bob. Bob Berdine, I read that Listerine is good for a foot bath. Ooh, that sounds fun. It's certainly hard as a mouthwash. That gold is like, wow. My mouth is on fire, so I'll have to try that. That sounds kind of fun. I want to run and try that right away. It's also good for dandruff. It sounds like you guys are doing this Windex thing. It's really cute. You guys are adorable. You're absolutely adorable. Hello, Catherine. This is my happy place. I know, right? Listen to all the tips you're getting today. Listen to all the good, yummy stuff you're getting. Did you mix and blend your paint on the canvas or on a palette? I just don't blend value very well. Okay. There is a class now, if you can handle. I mean, seriously, the teacher that taught me this method, he's seriously hyper real. And I'm one of these people that goes, I'm not going to get hyper real. I don't want to get hyper real. I don't want it to be a photograph. I just want it to be recognizable to me. Okay. So I tend to be one of those students that's not going to completely give over to you, but I'll give over to the steps. Okay. So it's a class. Let me show you this again. He's the one that's teaching me this one. And he is he is from Vietnam, and the class is subtitled. I don't know how much it costs to take his class, but you can get it with all of the components that he suggests. So he puts together a supply kit, and you can buy the class with the supply kit, and they mail it out to you, or you can buy it without it, right? And I'm still taking his class. I haven't finished my painting, so I'm still taking a class with him. And what he does is take you through those painful steps of blending. He talks about alla prima, which means wet mixing. He talks about dry over wet, all of the things that you hate doing before. You just want to get into painting, don't you? You know, and that's what I'm talking about. He takes you through these steps. Many teachers can and will, but he takes you through these steps that are challenging. I do mix on my palette. With my first one, the teacher that taught me this, which incidentally, I wasn't a fan of hers because she never gave feedback. And I think as a teacher, when you got beginners, you got to give feedback all the time. Okay, you don't have to give it every minute, but at least be present in the class 1 or 2 times and definitely give some tips when it's done, you know, but she was nowhere to be found. She was just collecting the money. So not a real fan of hers, but, and I told her so because how is she going to know if I don't tell her so? But this fella is very sweet. He's very kind. He does the best he can because he is in Vietnam. So a lot of times you'll ask a question and then he'll answer it because they're almost like on the dark side of the moon. I get my answers at 1 or 2 in the morning. But she had a palette. So let me just, my body's going, it's creaking at me, guys. So just give me a minute. Okay, so portrait painting lady had us create this palette, okay? And what we did was you can buy this palette. She told us where to buy it, where it has the gray in the back, so that when you put the colors are vibrant on there. So when you put the paint color, it's a true color. The white sometimes is hard on your eyes. So then you would put it, she would show you how to put it, and then she would show you, you'd mix in this field. So maybe at the back or the top were your colors, and then you would take a palette knife and mix it here in this area, and then it would be like this close to you. So colors at the back, and then you'd mix here, right? And then you would spray it with water and cover it with saran wrap. And then you would come out every so often and reconstitute the acrylics with spray. Now, there's new acrylics called Open, and they are ones that stay wet longer, okay? But sometimes the quickness of acrylics is a benefit, I'm finding. So when I wanted to repaint my dreadlocks, I waited till it was in a fan, and then I just repainted them over because they dry so quickly, unlike oils. They're also non-toxic. And of course, as you know, oils can have toxicity to them. So if you're someone like me who just doesn't do toxic anymore, I didn't used to care when I was young, but then who did? I wanted to learn acrylics because I love oils. I love oils, but I just couldn't have that in my small studio. So that's what she suggests, okay? And I thought this was cool. But then I met my guy from Vietnam. My guy from Vietnam has got to be about 19 years old and is an amazing young man. I couldn't tell you his name, couldn't pronounce it, just a brilliant kid. And I bought his set. I bought his set, and one of the things that I love is this bucket that he had me get that I just think is so funky and funny. But here it is. Let me show it to you. I'm trying to fold it up. I never fold it up, so it's like, I don't want to fold it up. But it comes to you like this, and you can see it's kind of grungy because I've been busy. You can put your brushes here, but it folds up like this, and then when you're ready to use it, you just punch out the back, and you can punch out like halfway, or you can punch out all the way and have a big bucket. I usually punch it halfway, so I usually bring it into about here. This is where I like it. I'll punch it all the way in, and then I'll pull it out halfway. That's the way I like it. I like it halfway like this. This is the way I like it, halfway. And then you can set your brushes here to dry. And then it has a scrubby thing on the bottom. I don't know if you can see that, but it has a scrubby. So you can scrub your brushes on the bottom. And I really like it. It's just a great, and then it's a carrier too. But I mean, I just love it. It has this area for you to lay your brushes on. I thought it was fun. But my favorite thing that he has told me about, just checking my brushes to make sure that they're not, because I just finished my painting for Chuck Jones, and then I wanted to make sure, is this thing. Okay, I am in love with this thing. This is my favorite thing to preserve my paints in. I just love it. Okay, so it opens up like this. I don't even know if it's on Amazon because it came with the kit. Okay, but here it is. It comes in 2 parts. Both are workable for your paints. And you can see here, Catherine, that I mixed right here. Okay, there they are. These were my paintings for my Chuck Jones entry. And then here's this. Okay, but the thing I love about this, you see this blue? It's actually dry. It doesn't have any blue on here. What I love about this is, let me get a palette knife. I hope you guys are enjoying this. This is what this is for. Okay, so all you do is take your palette knife and get it started, and it just pops off. See that? It just pops off. Can I show you in a white area? There's a white area. Let me just show you here. It just pops off right here. Okay, it's super cool. And then it's slick. It just, all the paint peels off. So let me show you. I'll demonstrate it a little bit better. And then I'll show you something really funky. If you guys are in the mood, I'll show you something really funky. Okay, so I'm just going to put this over here. And then I'm going to show you here how this works. So here it is. And all you do is take your palette knife and it pops off. You see how it just, this is seriously dry. This has been weeks since I looked at this. Okay. And it just takes it off. And you see how nice and white and clean that is? I mean, this is my favorite palette. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter how long the paint is on here. It just goes, so look at this. Take your palette knife. It's like an eraser. I don't think I've ever seen anything like this. And look at how that yellow popped up. Isn't it cool? And you just go here. This is my little Vietnamese rock star, who I may not paint like him, but he's definitely, and this is the thing about taking classes, is that someone shares with you something magical. And then you can go in with a damp cloth, and if you're worried about this, it just will disappear too, but it doesn't affect your art, and just over and over and over again, it just disappears. I mean, here I've got a blob of red, and the red will just pop right off. There it is, popped off. See? See how it's now clean right there? Isn't that funny? And then here, there's like, I was doing some major red, pink, and red because I can't remember why I had red, but doesn't matter. You don't even really care about that. But look at how it peels off. Just peels off. And then practically clean and empty. And then if you're Jenny G, who's my amazing painter, but then I met other painters too who say, don't throw these away, keep them in a jar. So I have this painting, all these paint things go in a little jar. And what they say you can do is to take these ones that you have that you peeled off, and you could actually incorporate it as a texture in one of your paintings. So I haven't done that yet, but I am saving them. I am putting them together and saving them. So this is where I mix it. I mix and mix and mix it. And honestly, Catherine, just over and over and over and over and over again. The nice thing about acrylics, you mix it one way, try it again, mix it one way, and try it again. Now I'm going to tell you about someone who will really drive you insane when it comes to color mixing. And that is my dear friend and amazing instructor out of the UK named Will Kemp, WILLKEMP. WillKemp.com, and I am wanting to train with him. I've picked up several classes, and I want to train with him because I won't do this now. But anyway, hold the Will Kemp thought. Let me just finish what I'm saying here. Okay, so once this is all clean, or you have your colors, you can put your colors in these various little areas, or you can put them here. If you're someone who is like my guy from Vietnam, if he doesn't want to do it, then he uses this as the palette. Now you notice it's got this nice rubber gasket here. So then you spray, and then you put this on top, and you clip it, and it preserves your paint. It keeps it wet. It keeps it moist. You got to go in every so often. Don't leave it for days, because you see I've left it for days, and then it can only do so much. But this is my favorite palette. I have rejected every other palette. I love this palette. It's great for transporting too. When it's super clean, I can put my brushes, I can put my cloth, I can put everything in here, and then you just open the kit, and there you are, ready to go. Whoop, whoop. Anyway, it's super nice, and I've fallen in love with it. So as I take my classes, I take from each class what I like, and then the others. But like I said, I'm about to start a Will Kemp class, and Will is on YouTube. Okay, WILLKEMP. He's on YouTube, and you can actually practice with him. This is the way I want to have my courses, is like the way Will does it, because he gives you a couple of courses for absolutely free on his YouTube channel. And then if you like him as a teacher, you go to his website and purchase a course that you may want to do once you know he's a teacher that you like. And his portrait course, which I can't do yet because I don't want to start another painting before finishing another. Just give me a minute. I just want to put these things back. There we go. Yay. One of the things that Will is teaching you is how to be more free with your painting. In other words, instead of doing a drawing and doing a this and doing a that, to the extent that you've seen me do a drawing, his drawings are more general. They're like blocking, and then he tells you how to come in and do darks and lights, and you're interpreting from your brain. You're not trying so hard to stay within the confines of the drawing. You're actually applying on canvas or on board, which many painters are really liking these boards now. He just talks about how you do what your interpretation of what you're looking at. And he starts with a painting. So you're actually learning to paint a painting copy, a copy of a painting, not a copy of a model. And this way you can kind of understand what's where in the way of acrylics. So where would you use like a glaze? Where would you use more transparency? Where, when you do the darks, how does that work? How do you bring, so he helps you with that. I haven't taken his course yet, but I've been watching it over and over and over again. I did buy it, but I'm just watching it over and over and over again. But he does this paint palette, Catherine, that'll just exhaust you. I haven't done it yet. But you paint a piece of board gray, and then you tape it off with masking tape, and then you mix colors. You must mix, you get 3 colors, I think is what he tells you about. I think it's called a Dorn palette. I could have that wrong though. I'm so new to this, so forgive me. But then from those colors, you create lights and darks and dull and bright from those 4 colors. And it is like watching paint dry, forgive me. Really tough. You're going to be getting up, your shoulders get tight because it is really super basic. But if mixing is your challenge, Catherine, I highly recommend you take a look at Will and take a look at some of his courses. They're not that expensive. And he's a fine teacher. He's a very fine teacher. And I'm eager. I got to finish my master here, and then I'm going to do my Will paintings, because I think and I may actually set my organ, my samurai master, my samurai sword master aside and paint with Will a bit, because it'd be nice to pull in some more of the abstract qualities that Will seems to teach into this one. So I may jump over and do that, because hyper real, there's so many people that do hyper real paintings, and I can't tell the difference between them, and I don't want to be that person. I want you to be able to tell when my paintings are my paintings. I just want to. That's important to me. So that's my goal. That's my goal with that. And I'm having a great time just playing. Yeah. Playing in acrylics. It's great. I'm amazed that I'm able to do as well as I am, because man, years ago, oh, I sucked at it. I just couldn't get any. I tried again, and I go, why can't I get this to work? And now finally, I guess everything has come together, and it's working. Bob says, that's so cool that you show the progression of your work. Rick Law does that also, and it's so amazing to see the art unfold. I have suggested to Floyd Norman it would be amazing to see his process. Floyd, though, is fast. Floyd does a lot of sketching. Floyd doesn't do a lot of painting, but yeah, it would be nice. He's so good with the Disney characters that I would imagine it doesn't take him long to do the concepts. It's kind of like Willie Ito. Watching Willie Ito, it's so amazing how quickly Willie Ito can put a character on paper. There really isn't a lot of, how people draw the circles and they figure out yeah. It's just so much practice that, he kind of, and it's there, right? So to show the process might not be as entertaining, but I know what you mean. It would be nice just to see him draw, even if he draws that fast. But if you ever get to see them in working, doing their thing, you want to make sure that, you don't get intimidated. Realize that they've been practicing for a very, very long time. And so they can draw these things because they've drawn them so many different times in so many different ways, right? And thank you, Bob. I appreciate that compliment. Your awesome pumpkin sculpting teacher, Terri. I already am thinking about what I'll do in October. I am so excited for you. But one of the reasons, wouldn't you agree, Michelle, is because I don't ask you all to do the same thing. It doesn't matter what you do. And some people come and they go, oh, this looks like it's going to be really involved. And I go, maybe it is. But if you think you can do it, I'm right here to help you. So I'm right here to show you the techniques, to help you with the various areas to get the result that you want. And watching you be surprised is part of my joy, because when you stretch a little bit, and you're left to spread your wings when it comes creatively, even if you don't believe you're creative, it's amazing what happens. And then look out, because if you're someone who didn't believe you were creative and all of a sudden through that pumpkin you notice you are, you become a force to be reckoned with, and you're surprised at how much you explode into whatever venue you go from there. I love your paintings. It's amazing how much talent that you have. Oh, you're super sweet. You're super sweet. That is so nice of you to say, Diane. I will share with you another one because I'm going like a different direction. So I have another person who's from Vietnam who speaks English. So I'm lucky enough with him. But I have to show you that he makes you draw directly in ink. So he starts you out with, you got a peek of this, right? So, oops, I always push the wrong button. So forgive me. Now push me. Yeah. So first he has you, understand lines, then squares, then you just kind of do what he shows you to do. And you see how my carrot, you draw some beer. He has broken dots. He kind of helps you, and you're just kind of doing what he's talking about, stroke length, how it might help you. And then he has you do different types of characters, like the guy on the far right that has the stubble hair, to me looks like a thumb. And these are kind of his style. So you kind of copy what he does, and then you kind of do your own thing. These are mine. So I picked a model of a turtle, and then I drew these. Now, the thing about these that's very interesting is that you're not allowed to use pencil first. You must go straight ink. Now, because it's an online course, you can do whatever you want, but I feel a challenge is a challenge. So I draw these in straight ink, and that can be scary, guys. I'm going to tell you right now. So this one is straight ink, and you can see that her proportions might be a little weird around the hips. and there's a few challenges in some of the areas, but you got to do ink. You cannot erase. You're not allowed. You're not allowed to erase. Here's a Viking that I did, and a thing here based on his, he teaches you steps and you just go for it. You go for it. It's scary. One of the things was to take characters that he taught us how to draw. The cubes are the little floaty things off to the right, the skeleton. But you see how these are whimsical sketches? I'm starting to find where I want a hashtag up in the left corner, how I want to draw trees. I did some turtles. If I hide Diane's comment for a moment, you can see the turtles. I'm very proud of the water done in black brush, because we draw completely in black and white. He takes you through the black and whites before he takes you to the color. Then I had to do a study of something. I decided that the shell would be good. And if you look at the bottom left, if I hide Diane's comment one more time, if you look at the left, you see those little dots? That's because he shows you, you can sort of map out in ink the dots to give you the general shape, but you can't draw in pencil. And you can see that stitch marks around these, and I wish I could make them bigger for you. Oh, I can, there. Yay, that time it worked. You can see that those dashes don't always necessarily work. But by being forced to draw in ink, it makes you really go for it. It can make your heart stop. I'm not even going to lie. I decided to do shells. And he'll tell you what many people do, anime things, but anime also tends to blend together in different ways. And I'm looking for my own, style. But because he takes you through these steps and you just give yourself over to your teacher, magical things happen. Really magical things happen. And I'm going to show you by drawing those shells. I'm going to show you one other thing where he told us to choose an animal and then draw the skeletal structure inside. So I decided to do the chameleon, and here I put in what I thought his little skeleton would look like underneath. I actually saw a chameleon skeleton, but I had to do it in my drawing. You know, they showed the skeleton, but they didn't necessarily show it inside the animal. So he had you do this step-by-step training. And then he had you do that one you saw where I had all those different characters doing their things. And then he had you kind of play with what you might do as a character. So I end up doing my little dragon on the bottom. So here is my kind of skeletal only chameleon as the skeleton at the top. And then at the bottom, I incorporated my little dragon curling up next to a shell on top of a shell. Again, straight ink, no pencil, not allowed to do pencil. And so sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. You just keep practicing. He has you do different angles. You can't just do sideways. You have to do forced perspective, which I'm not the best at. And I just kept working and working. And then he takes you on to people. And he has you do sketches like this. So those of you who have taken classes, you start to realize, and you notice the different perspectives that he's having me do. This is a robot in different perspectives. And I just fill the page, straight ink again. Oh, look, I'm talking to Dick Van Dyke. Okay, that was not what I wanted to show you, but there it is. But then he has you do this step by step by step, and you're going through. And this is what's great about having someone like that teach you, because then he says, now we're going to do some color. He did some, like, you learn watercolor because we do watercolor, right? And I've done watercolor pen and ink before, but I'm there to do it his way. So he shows you how to do color blending and all of that sort of stuff. I'll save you from those classes. And then he says, okay, pick something and take it from start to finish. Start it now. Now you have to lay out what your picture is going to be. And then you're going to sketch it out in straight ink. You're going to do a somewhat of a composition. And then you're going to, this is the core. This is part where he showed you how to do color. Okay. So when I, with watercolor, came in and painted these figures, He suggested that my light source wasn't strong. In other words, you can see in the blue figure after his critique, I was trying to get a very distinct light source and a dark source, but the yellow one is kind of in question. So he wrote and said, you need to really be strong on where the light is coming from. And I was very grateful for that critique. So then after you do that for a while, he says to you, listen, now you're going to cleanse your brain, right? And now what you're going to do is you're going to get a plain piece of white paper. Let's just say this is it, white paper. And now what you're going to do is you're going to figure out how you're going to fill this. Now, my canvas was square, but how are you going to fill this area compositionally so it focuses where you want to focus and the light is coming from where you want? Now, at this point, you probably need smelling salts because you're nervous. You have to go straight ink. Then you have to go straight color. You cannot do very much preliminary work. But I will tell you, this is why I have you do your own thing at the pumpkin sculpting class, because the feeling I got when I finished my piece, I almost cried. I almost cried. I was just like, oh my God, did I do that? Is that for me? No models. Like I had a couple of photographs of the fish that I was doing, and then the rest, but it was somewhat me, and then it was somewhat the model. I just had the model to refer to for proportions, but I didn't trace. I did straight ink. I got to tell you, it was terrifying. And then I had to paint the whole thing in watercolors, and I had to use he kept our palette restricted, so we had to mix colors. We couldn't just take from the watercolor and put the true color down. We had to mix. He gave us a series of colors, and then from that we had to mix to get any color we want. And I was nervous because whenever I do watercolors, I get nervous because it gets muddy. Okay, here it is. Are you guys ready? Okay, I'm really excited about this to show you. But anyway, there it is. There it is right there. Check this thing out. I do not know where this came from. I do not know how I did this, except for that when the teacher takes you through the steps and you're like, I'm worried about it being ink. Oh my God, I can't do pencil first, blah, 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 right? And then you just give over. Now there's some mistakes in it, like this hidden Mickey over here. Like I painted that and I used ink, and now I really wish I had done a color because it actually pulls you away from the overall composition. You tend to look over in that direction, and that's not what I wanted. I wanted you to see the very scary faces of the deep sea fish with all the teeth, and then to see the fear on the fish that we're realizing that once the light hits, it's not cool. But he said, I got it. I nailed it with my light source, because the idea is to look at the light first, then the fish, and then the scary fish. So and they travel because of what he taught me. But the thing that kind of stops you is that black hidden Mickey on the body of one of my food fish. But there's always a mistake, and you just got to let it roll. You know, I can't cover ink up with watercolor, so it's there. But I'm glad it's there so I can show you what I mean. But you can see that the light lights up the food fish, and then you look over to the evil fish. You might look up at the big scary fish with the light first, but then the light leads you down to the fish that will soon be devoured by the scary fish. And then what really makes me happy is the background, because the background isn't muddy. It's just got full of energy and expression. And that is because I gave over to my teacher in order to do it. So honestly, guys, if you just give over to your teacher and trust them, then all of a sudden they ask you to put all the components together, and you're like, ah! And then something like that happens, and you keep staring at it going, is that really mine? Did I do that? Where did that come from? I mean, that's me, Terri, saying that. When I saw that picture, I was blown away, because I usually had muddy watercolors. They weren't vibrant and bright, and here they are. And the light source was always a challenge with me, as I think it was Catherine who said she had trouble with mixing. So you just keep it up. You keep it up. You keep it up, and you trust. And you find teachers that you can take from. All of these teachers were online. And he's really now what he's done after we took this jump is he's starting to show us how we can use light watercolor with a watercolor brush. You know, those brushes that have the reservoir in the back, where you can mix like a blue watercolor that's super, 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 super soft, and you can kind of map out your composition and then go over it with the ink and the watercolor. But he didn't teach us that until we had done this middle assignment. So he unveiled it, and I love the way he taught the class. And he is one of them. His name is Bruce Kao. I think it's Kao, and I may be pronouncing his last name wrong, but Bryce Kao. Kao, Brycekao, and he's with a group called Class 101. Class 101. It does cost a little bit to be in their classes, but if you can find the right teacher, it's really worth it. And so far, my 2 teachers that I'm involved with there are extremely good. They're just so good. And I'm really slow. I mean, the class was supposed to seriously end in a couple months, and I've been doing Bryce's class for like a year. Because I go back and I watch past lessons. It's a little challenging. You'll see when you look at Class 101 what I mean. I'm not going to get into it now, but I am right now at the point where he's starting to show you how to map out in watercolor. I just haven't been able to do it because of obligations that pay me again. It's a shame you have to work for, make sure you eat. But it's great. So thank you for the question and the compliment. I think it's really sweet of you. I'm constantly looking for me. This is the first painting I did that looks like me. It doesn't look like somebody else's work. And that really gave me confidence to keep going. And so it's watercolor and ink and ink brushes and stuff, like the brushes that you paint the ink. And really this is all me. That painting is all me. And so I step back and I'm trying to say, who does that look like? And I can't think of anybody. So I'm really happy that that's the case. It doesn't look like a Disney painting, and it doesn't look like I'm a Disney artist, and it doesn't look like, it doesn't look like Janny's work, and it doesn't look like Ron Kubala's work. It looks like Terri's work. So it is a window into what possibly could happen in my future. But the journey is a fun one, and I just love it. And honestly, I would love to be able to free up some time so I can do more. So yeah, thank you for asking, and thank you for saying that. Those show off with those top tickets sold out in minutes. Yeah, glad it's gone. We are all special, and merch too. They got it all. They did, and put it on. They put it on. It was on eBay before you guys got through the door, and I was really upset by that. Just hurt. Leslie Smith, how are you? You got to chime in. I think maybe the confusion regarding D23 and Expo is that invariably the event was referred to as just D23. I'm going to D23, but D23 is the organization itself, not the event. The D23 Expo, I'm sure she's saying, the D23 Club sponsors the event, which is called an Expo, the D23 Expo. D23 also sponsors a lot of other events, which all have different names, but D23 is only the organization, i.e., I told you earlier about my friend Sandy. She is going to a D23 event that is in Marceline. And that happens, unfortunately, when I am getting my Legends Award. So doggone it, she won't be there, but I know she'll be there in spirit. And she really, she gets excited when she gets to do these D23 events, as many of you members get. So yeah, very good. And Joe's putting up goldenapplecomics.com. Does it say whether, Joe, their store is still somewhere on Melrose? Because when I looked, I didn't see it. Maybe they had taken their sign down and we're going to put it back up later. I don't know. But I drove by there not too long ago and couldn't find him. Tokyo Disneyland opened in 1983. Euro Disneyland was 1992. So the first international park was Tokyo Disneyland. Okay, Joseph, you are correct. But I guess they were worried about a castle in Paris. Also, Tokyo Disneyland was owned by Tokyo, not Disneyland. That's the big difference. Okay. So let me be more specific. The first Disneyland owned park was Euro Disneyland. Tokyo owns their own park. Disneyland leases to Tokyo the name. Okay. So I guess I should have been more specific. You are absolutely right. But Euro Disney first Disneyland, there it is. Disneyland owned park. Yep. See, I'm just parroting you now, Joseph. I'm just parroting you now. Yeah. I guess I should have been more specific. And that's what you're teaching me here. The first Disneyland owned park. Yes, because Tokyo wouldn't have it. Tokyo wanted to own their own park. And that's a story for another time. Oh, wow. I used plastic Tupperware style containers to mix my paint for red, infrared. I was so blown away when the dried paint peeled right off. Same as your cool mixing box. Exactly. And then the thing that really gets you, Michelle, is you throw it in a container like I have my Pyrex dish, and later you might do a salute to Janny G. Janny takes a lot of recycled materials and incorporates them into her art. That's one of the things that I love about Janny, is the way that she does her art with materials. In fact, one of my favorite Janny paintings is a killer whale or a humpback whale. It's a whale, and she did it out of garbage bags. And she said it was really hard, but it's so gorgeous and dimensional and beautiful. And every time I look at it, I go, I love that painting. It's just got so much emotion and strength, and it's recycled stuff. So it's really cool. So yeah, yay. Isn't it cool? Tupperware works real well. Years ago, when I was using a thing called Barge, which is somewhat toxic to people, always do it outside. For cosplay, we had those little cups, and the whole thing would peel out. The rubber cement would dry, but it would pop up in a cup shape. We always laughed about that. So you're right. Works really well. Tupperware is a godsend. Francesca says, speaking back to Star Wars, did you ever make your own Kowalkian monkey? No, I haven't done that yet. No, I haven't done that yet. I haven't yet. I got some puppets in line that I want to build when I get a moment. Yes. In fact, my friend and tribe member, Adam Robeson, said that he showed me a Darth Vader puppet that was done for Disney, and I didn't like it. It was a marionette. And I have a couple of marionette concepts for the Wicked Queen and for Maleficent. So I'm thinking of pulling out those drawings that I did and making a couple of marionettes. They won't be this big, though. They'll be one of a kind, and they'll be a bit larger, but eventually I will pull them out and actually create them. And then that could be very cool, because I just didn't like the structure, that they kind of look like an afterthought marionette. And because I did marionettes and still do marionettes, that was a little irritable. I know why they're doing it, because you don't want to have 9 strings. A kid drops it, it's all tangled, and it's no more fun. It's not a fun toy. But I understand and I get it. It's more toy than actual marionette. But then that just makes someone who does puppets go, gotta make a marionette. Yeah. And you will be able to follow me when I do that, if I should ever do that soon. I am correct about Willie Ito. Actually, all of them have the muscle memory. It's so cool to watch them create. Yeah, your muscle memory is there. And going back to what I was saying about, you just got to keep practicing and practicing and practicing, Jacob. That's just all you do. And before you know it, it seems to click like magic, like my little drawing here with watercolor. I was just so blown away, because I was always afraid to mix watercolors, because they always appeared muddy no matter what I did. It just helps someone guide you into keeping them not muddy. And oh my gosh, that dark color with the purples and the blues and the blue grays, I'm just so proud of it. More than the fish, because that was something I was terrified of doing. He wouldn't allow us to use just straight purple. You know, I had to mix the purple, and then I had to darken the purple with, yeah, wow, yeah. But then boom, then ba-boom, it worked. Thanks, Bob, for that. It was fun. Michelle says it was fun after I came up for air when my pumpkin was done to see all the very different carvings that were on those pumpkins. I'm glad no two carvings were alike. This is correct. Thank you for saying that. We all chose to do something different, and they were all amazing to witness as they came. Yes, absolutely true. And every single person did something really amazing and interesting. And if you guys want me to do an Ask Me Anything where I kind of walk you through some of these pieces, some of the things that people sculpted on their first time, like Michelle, I will do that. Just pop it in the comments, and I need to set up for it, but I can do it and show you some amazing pumpkins that they did. And it was their very first time, like Michelle, okay? The idea is for you to do it over and to feel good after you've done it. That is my mission when I'm teaching every time. And the way to do it is to just make a comfortable environment where you can spread out and just have fun, feel it, not worry about what they're doing next to you. I have a very dear friend out of the UK who said when he was drawing Mickey Mouse, he just couldn't finish because he kept looking at others saying theirs were better than his. I can't have you doing that as a beginner. That is a natural beginning trait, is to look at other people in the room. If you're all painting the same thing and your voice gets in there and says, theirs is better, I have no talent. I can't have that stinking thinking in there. So in order to do that, I let you do whatever you want. And this is why, because someone sculpting a Yoda cannot sculpt a door, Alice in Wonderland's doorknob. It's never going to cross your mind that it's better than yours. Yeah. So that's why I do that. Hello, Wendy. That's awesome. Dick Van Dyke. Yeah, you saw us shaking hands, right? I've got a couple of really nice poses. We both were speaking on the same stage for Mice Chat. And I actually told him that he heard about me being a performer. So I said, I'll speak to them and say, okay, this side of the room, Dick, let's look this way. And they took pictures. Okay, now the middle side of the room, get your cameras ready. And Dick and I, and it was Dick, Mike Peraza, his wife, so it was a bunch of us, but I was next to Dick Van Dyke helping him because he didn't like to be looking here and a picture be taken like this. He like when he's shaking my hand, it doesn't matter, but someone took a casual picture. But when we're looking and we're posing, he wanted to be able to look at the camera. So that's what I did. Center, get ready. Right, get ready. Left, get ready. And he had a good time about that. He felt really good about that. So it was kind of nice. It's my Hollywood coming through. Bob Berdine, I agree with you. I love how she shares her techniques and talents. Thank you, Bob. I would suggest to everyone try the Patreon page. She opens the art and Disney worlds, which are not necessarily the same. Terry's so generous with her time and her talent. Thank you, Bob Berdine. And Bob is too. So what Bob will tell you is that he doesn't necessarily do art in the way that we think about it. But what Bob does is help us to understand what it means to be a philanthropist, to be someone who gives back to your community. Bob and his wife, Rose, were responsible for doing that for years. And they help us as artists understand the importance of doing it, especially during these times. So their counsel really helps us as to choose a good charity, how we might be a part of that charity, and how we might offer our services to various charities that we respect and we love. So they, like I said, all walks of life in the tribe, all walks of life, helping each other and reaching out to each other and talking about all different kinds of things. So check it out, patreon.com/Terri Hardin, and join it. Make your voice heard with a group that really listens. That's awesome, says Wendy. Thank you, Wendy. I love how much inspiration I get from you in the tribe, says Michelle. And you are such an awesome artist. It makes me want to try everything. That's what I like. Thank you, Michelle. That's what I like to hear, girlfriend. And I'm right next to you. Okay. So Michelle and I are a bit of kindred spirits on during Patreon because we both decided to enter the Chuck Jones Center for Creativity Red Dot auction. And Michelle paints, but Michelle was painting in acrylic and she hadn't done it in a while and or done it at all. Had you, Michelle? And she paints in oils usually. And she wanted to do this. She wanted to do this painting for this charity. And I was painting, and we were bouncing back and forth because we were late. Okay. So the charity told us we had to have it in by, I think it was like, what was that date? Like, was it April 8th? I think it was April 8th. And we were like, we can't do it. So I wrote to them and told them I wasn't going to make it. And they realized that the product, probably a lot of artists did that because they pushed the deadline to May 3rd. And we started to tell other artists that they wanted to jump in to do it. And Ron Kabbalah is a painter, a very accomplished painter. He's with the tribe as well. And so he kind of looked at it and said, well, hey, I'm going to do one. And he was going to like overnight it for the deadline. But then we said, no, you don't have to do that. Just let them know it's going to be a few days late, because they know sometimes it takes. But anyway, she and I side by side would text back, or we'd talk during our Zoom calls on the tribe thing and talk about our challenges. And she was saying, I keep painting, I should really stop. And I kept saying, it doesn't look right. I don't know what's wrong, and we're not allowed to show it to you because it's got to be chosen on the merits of the painting, not the artist's name, which is why we can't show you what we did. But it's very exciting. And we're so excited to meet at the event. I hope she can go and see how her paintings do and look online and see, and I wish her a red dot and she's wishing me a red dot. And Michelle, it's just great. It's just really fun to do it while we figure it out. And there she was, hand in glove with me, inspiring me. And that's the way it is. I will also be in Marceline. I always say Lane, don't I? She will be in Marceline. So she will miss out. I have to give up my ticket for the DSC event, which you will be honored. Broke my heart that you're not going to be there. I'll go on the next day at the time of the show and say, oh, poor timing. Wah, I'm with you because I was hoping to see you. But hey, you're going to something that's going to be really fun. Marceline, I'm hoping that Marceline will have TuneFest this year. I just wrote to them because I was supposed to be a guest 2 years ago. And I hope this year we get to do it. So 2020, it was postponed. And 2021, it was postponed. So now I'm hoping they're actually going to make it happen and that I will get to be a guest. And I'm so excited. I hope it happens because I've never seen Marceline. Thank you, Leslie. You're a doll helping me out there. Golden Apple Comics address, Melrose. So it's still Melrose. Phone number, email. So we'll see. I'll pop over there. They're not participating in the free. It doesn't look like they're participating in the free comic books. I looked to see if maybe they would be participating in the free comic book day, but it doesn't look like they are. But and I don't even know if the dad is still living. It's been a while. So, but I know the son is. I went out there to see him and told him I saw him when he was 4 wielding his little lightsaber. It's cool. It's really cool. Yeah. Those Star Wars memories. Stephen Golden says when Bob Baker was making marionettes for Disney, he wanted to make the Queen Hag as a flip puppet to be a transformation. And I really wish he had been able to do that, Stephen, because Bob had that ability. They said no, they would rather sell 2 items, better cash intake. And I think as a flip puppet, it would be absolutely phenomenal. But for me, I want to do the 2 different ones as well. I want to do the Wicked Queen. I don't, someone has asked me to do the Hag, but a lot of people have sculpted and done the Hag. So I probably will do my 2 villains first, Maleficent and the Wicked Queen. And I'll do the Wicked Queen first because I haven't seen a lot of her lately. And Maleficent, is one of those from the dark arts that is just so loved by all of us that I think I'll start with the Queen when I finally get done to it, and then they'll be a lot larger than most I've seen. But Bob Baker did a great Tinkerbell for the 45th that was absolutely stunning, and it was great to sit with him and do that. So well, I'm so glad we had this time together. We are at the 3-hour mark, and I'm going to be a good girl and say goodnight. I was actually going to cut it off at 2 hours, but you guys had a lot of cool questions about drawing, sketching, painting, and starting something new, and I just felt it was important to get through them today. I hope you've enjoyed it. Many of you have hung in there with me, as you often do, but understand that I'm working to get down to about 2 hours for this Ask Me Anything as more and more of you depart to do something outdoors. Don't feel bad if this is you and you're listening to this later, you're watching this later. Please still comment. I still look, not often, always. I've got a lot of work, but I do like to hear from you. And let me know if you enjoy this. They do go long, and I am planning on chopping them up. In fact, I actually asked a class. There's a guy actually here on YouTube that does just that, has a long channel, and he makes them into highlights. And so I'm going to go look at him and watch how he does and start to do that for you as well, as have a playlist of just the highlights so you don't have to listen to it for 3, 4, 5 hours, right? But I will eventually try to get the Ask Me Anything down to an hour, hour and a half. It's not going to happen tomorrow, as you can see. And the Monday one down to just around 45 minutes. So, but right now, if you have the questions, if you ask it and stuff, I want to make sure that you get your questions answered, because who knows, now you're going to put your feet upon the path and start something new, or maybe you'll join the Patreon page and I'll get to hear your voice as well. I am as much inspired by Terri's tribe as Terri's tribe inspires me. People like Michelle, who we just had this fun little giggle fest as we didn't see each other's paintings. Understand that. We were just, when we were on Zoom, we talked about it. And then we posted, some of the trials and tribulations that I went through. And we shared some of the silly things that happened as you're painting. And it was really cool. And then we both managed to get Ron Kabbalah to enter again. And I'm so glad, because he's so good. And it's great to see. So we're hoping more and more people, even if you don't paint, you can enter this. You could have entered this. Now it's done. The deadline was May 3rd. But hey, you could have done this. You don't have to be an expert at painting. You just paint and have fun, and you donate it, and that raises money for a very, very good charity, the Chuck Jones Center for Creativity. I've done it. This is my 5th year, and I'm always looking to patrons to show them where they might put their artwork to, and then go to the gala to meet and greet, shake hands, and say hello to people. So I hope you will think to do it too. Let's take a look at what everybody says. You actually said it right today, but I had to kid you. Seriously, I'm so excited to go to Marceline. No, Marceline. Marceline for my first time. You're going to love it. You're going to love it. I can't wait. I've never been. I'm dying to go too. I'm supposed to do it during the summer. So I hope he answered me. Hearts, and have a great weekend, everyone. Happy Mother's Day. Be kind to a mother in your area, and let them know how much you love them. Everyone have a great weekend. To all the moms, happy Mother's Day. You guys are so wonderful. Diane says hearts. Hearts from Michelle. Happy Mother's Day to Diane. And have a great weekend, everybody. And with that, do something nice for someone else. It'll make you feel a whole lot better. Consider joining my Patreon page, patreon.com/Terri Hardin. Your voice needs to be heard for less than, you're going to have to skip a Starbucks, and then you can pay for it, $5 a month. It's so easy. So I hope you'll consider it. Okay. I love you guys. We'll talk soon. Have a lovely weekend. I'll see you on Monday.